Nation. It will be Jake Maier under center for the Riders tonight. The veteran QB, no stranger to the spotlight, appearing in 66 career CFL games, but all with the Stampeders. And it's all about the backups today with Nathan Rourke still nursing that oblique injury. The Lions will once again turn to Jeremiah Masoli. The 36-year-old struggled in BC's loss to Winnipeg, maybe a little more comfortable in this one. I know that these two guys are already comfortable on the panel. We got Enoch Mwamba, Paul Lapolis as we get set for some Saturday evening/night action in the CFL. And Lapo, let us begin with Jake Maier. Look, we've seen him play over the years, but now getting this first start with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, what are you expecting from him tonight?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, Jake Maier really struggled completing passes. He was worse in the Canadian Football League at only 68%. 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Last season, he made a big jump when he was still with Calgary. He was 73%. And that's what Trevor Harris is right now. So is he going to handle this new system of Mark Mueller's? Obviously, they've had a relationship, and there's some Calgary stuff. But I think with the experience of last year, him completing, being the guy that they want. Quick completions, high completion percentage, put them in a position, where they can move the ball down the field and get their touchdowns. They've got 10 offensive touchdowns, most in the CFL. I'm looking forward to seeing how he operates in this system with Mark Mueller again.
Coach, you talk about where Jake Maier comes from. Well, obviously leaving Calgary, they weren't satisfied enough. One of the things that they talk about over there, why they were willing to move on from him, is the fact that he was inconsistent, right? They want to see consistency with Jake Maier tonight. And you look at the makeup of this team, it's so interesting. We were talking about it off air. They score amongst the top in the league with 98 points per game. And 98 points in the division right now, and they're leading the division. But they also give up so many yards. They have 100,000 points leading coming into this week. They gave up in the air, so they have to do a good job of giving the ball back to Jake Maier, but Jake Maier also has to do a good job because Trevor Harris was averaging, put up 806 yards already. He's going to have to put up points.
Just get AJ Olet the ball, and that will help too, right?
Definitely helps. Do some of that, fine, and let the defense
make it nice and simple. Don't overthink it. Give AJ Olet the ball.
Listen to Lapo, everyone. I mean, did you see what happened to flag football in the States? I mean, the man knows what he's talking about. CFL from the Heartland coming up right after this.
Saturday evening in Regina as Week 4 rolls into Mosaic Stadium. An excellent early season battle in the West as the Riders host the Lions. BC 1-2 to start the year. Saskatchewan in perfect 3-0. We know it's going to be a battle of backup quarterbacks, but it's also going to be a battle of two of the best middle linebackers in the league.
Two great pure tacklers, two great leaders. First of all, Micah Awe for the BC Lions, who is the current active leader in tackles with 473. And then on the other sideline, it'll be Jameer Thurman, the leader of that Saskatchewan defense, who has 22 tackles after 3 weeks. That's first in the Canadian Football League.
Corey Mace, 1-1 in his career versus BC. Of course, that last year, 1-0 at home so far this year, and for a second straight year has started the season 3-0. Buck Pierce, won in Week 1, lost back-to-back games against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. This is the first of 3 in a row on the road for the Lions. BC won the coin toss. They said, we want the ball. 24 degrees at kickoff, and a big early season battle in the West to get us going here on a Saturday on TSN. Excellent crowd at Mosaic. Beautiful day here. Lothar will get us going. And we are underway in Regina. This will be taken at the 5, a deep kick. Brooks brings it back, trying to find the near sideline. He will not. Here's a look at the veteran, Jeremiah Masoli.
Well, Jeremiah Masoli has thrown in his career for over 18,000 yards. So, yes, we're seeing the backups on both teams here in this game tonight, but they're really not backups. They're former starting quarterbacks. Jeremiah Masoli, of course, in 2018 had that 5,000-yard passing year. So, and he's got 1 game under his belt as the starter for the BC Lions.
Yeah, and it threw 44 passes in that game. So a lot of work, 281 yards through the air last week. Starts it on the ground. The running back, Butler, up the middle. Let's take a look at this BC offense.
Tyler Packer will play at that guard position again because this time Chris Slugger is going to move out and take Dejon Allen's spot at right tackle. So the guy they call Slug is out there on the tackle. There's Hatcher, who leads the league after 3 weeks in receiving yards.
6-yard pickup for Butler and an injured rider down on the field. That's Malik Carney. He's had a great start to the year. A couple of sacks already. 5 tackles.
You see number 11. That's Carney right there. AJ Allen in on the tackle, and he just gets folded in on. Oh, the big men land right on him.
That was Corey Woodruff, who's 6'4", 330. Came down on top of Carney.
Yeah, that can knock the wind out of you.
Interesting to see if they are able to run the ball successfully today, the BC Lions. Butler's averaging 4.8 yards per carry on the year. This Sask defense, they've given up over 1,000 yards passing in 3 games, but just under 46 yards per game on the ground.
Yeah,
right? So,
really good against the run.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking an average of less than 50 yards a game against the run. That's Corey May's style defense. He did that in Toronto. He's doing that here in Saskatchewan his second year as their head coach. He wants to stop the run and get teams in second and long. They have given up some passing yardage, as you mentioned, but not along the ground.
McInnes in the slot to the right of Mazzoli. And that one incomplete, was looking for Katoy. Defended by DeMarcus Fields. And it'll be a 2-and-out to start the game for the visitors.
Play doesn't work because of the pressure on Jeremiah Mazzoli. He goes with the RPO, run pass option, and that pressure in his face made him throw it around. The pressure in behind Katoy, who couldn't reel it in.
Look who it is.
Yeah.
Last time we saw him, he was breaking the hearts of the Argos. Mario Alford waits for this punt return. Carl Meyer gets it away. Alford trots over, takes it just inside the 35. They wrap him up this time after a 50-yard kick. Tackle made by Patrice Rene. And our first look at Jake Mayer in the green and white of the Riders.
Yeah, again, the backup quarterback starting for the Riders for Trevor Harris here in this game tonight, but not a backup. A starter in Calgary for many years. There's his 24 campaign, just shy of 4,000 yards, 22 touchdowns, but has thrown for over 11,000 yards in his career. So certainly not a rookie. Has worked with Trevor Harris all through camp and has the same coordinator as he had for years in Coach Mueller in Calgary.
He's also played more against BC than any other team in the league. They're going to start it on the ground and a little bit of room. AJ Ouellette midfield before he's eventually tracked down from behind, and a big pickup on the ground for a guy who's been rumbling a lot to start the year. This one goes for 26.
Well, he's been on a roll. A roll has been best in his career really in the last 2 games. I mean, 2 straight games where AJ Ouellette has played his best football. Just shy of 100 yards in back-to-back games. That game against Toronto had a little extra edge to him, his former team. Big run to start this offensive series.
On the sideline for now, Bertrand Hudon into the game behind Jake Mayer. 1st and 10 from the BC 49. And they'll give it to Hudon, trying to kick it to the outside. Now turns it back up the field, down to the 45. That'll be a 4-yard pickup for Bertrand Hudon. Let's take a look at this Sask offense.
Second-year starter Daniel Johnson was kind of forced into that left tackle spot, but has not just held his own. He's played very good football over the last couple of weeks. There's AJ Ouellette in his big last 2 games. Again, Mark Mueller coaching it up and staying with the run, no matter what it says on the scoreboard.
Ouellette back in the game now. Out in the slot to the left of Jake Mayer. Now he'll trot back into his quarterback's right. 3 options out to the left. Roulette goes to the right. Mayer with pressure gets it away. He's got a first down up to the 35 as he goes to Mitch Picton for the first time today.
Little bang route. Go inside, bang back to the outside. And Jake Mayer, as he was fading away from pressure, hits him right in the money.
First drive of the game for the Riders. Coming together nicely so far. They've marched up to the BC 35. Mayer with 3 receivers out to his right. Tucks it into the belly of A.J. Ouellette. Finds some room again, lunging ahead. Almost enough for another Rider first down. Looks like they'll give him 9.
Right now, the Lions defensively have got Matthew Betts going to the inside gap there. That's called the B gap between the guard and the tackle. And because they're doing that, that's the second run in a row. You watch how Matthew Betts comes inside here. So they're really giving up contain on the edge. That's allowing Jamarcus Hardrick to turn that corner, seal the edge, and allow A.J. Ouellette 2 big runs outside.
39 yards on 3 carries for the Riders. Tommy Stevens into the game now. He's 10 of 11 in short yardage situations this year. Pushes that one ahead. There's a flag, and the only one that he didn't actually pick up was on a penalty that came back. So outside of flags, Stevens has been perfect so far this season.
Offside. BC number 95. 5-yard penalty.
And who, by the way, in Tommy Stevens, was basically recruited by Jake Mayer. When Jake Mayer knew he knew he was going to be in Saskatchewan, he wanted him with him.
Here's the BC defense.
One change up front. Jonah Tavai is out. Marcus Moore will play for him. Hendricks has 3 sacks in 3 games for the BC Lions. Leads the way. There's Alway. We talked about him. 19 defensive tackles. Leader quickly in that middle of that defense. And Christophe Beaulieu, first interception of his career last week.
Fresh set of downs from the BC 21. A.J. Ouellette again. This time the Lions have seen enough. Hendricks, Tiema in on the tackle.
Yeah, this time they're going to widen the defensive end. Hendricks had enough of that off the right side type of run play. Tehema steps up. But they widen their splits. The splits are the distance between each player. The interior defensive line players, that tackle, that's the split in there. Those are the splits in between players.
So 2nd and 10, passing situation, and flags here. Look like an offensive lineman.
Saskatchewan number 65. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Out there at left tackle looked like.
That's Daniel Johnson.
Yeah, I mentioned Daniel Johnson playing well, and he's kind of pushed into that starting role at left tackle, which is a very difficult blind side of a right-handed quarterback. 72, according to PFF, 72 pass protection plays, not giving up a sack.
2nd and 15 for Mayer. Under pressure, steps underneath it, but misses his running back. And that'll set up a field goal attempt here for Brett Lothar.
That's a tough position to be in. Part of the 24 draft for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Daniel Johnson. 72 pass pros, not 1 sack given up. That's more than holding your own.
You're doing okay there.
Yeah.
You're doing okay there. 25-year-old out of Purdue. Now we get to Lothar, just 50% on the year, 4 for 8. 34-yarder here, and that one is up and through. So a good start to the game for Brett Lothar, and a pretty good start to the game for the Riders. We'll get a look at Jeremiah Mazzoli. He'll have the ball when we return to Mosaic in Regina. we mentioned that they got to look at Jeremiah Masoli last week. Here's what he did against a pretty tough Bombers defense.
Yeah, a very good Bombers defense, and there was a lot of good things. I mean, Jeremiah Masoli last week threw for 281, did throw 2 interceptions, but felt some pressure throughout the night. Asked Buck Pierce about his quarterback's play.
Riders are going to bring a little bit of pressure. Masoli gets it away. It's a little high, and it falls incomplete. He was looking for 5'7" Jermaine Jackson. If that's McInnes or Catoy over there, they probably haul it in.
Yeah, they make the catch. But I asked Buck, I said, specifically about, his play, about Jeremiah Masoli's play. The former quarterback and now head coach said it was about 3 or 4 decisions that we could be better at. That it was just a couple of plays where a different decision keeps us in the fight. And it wasn't blaming Missouri by any stretch of the imagination. It's a team game, but so those would be the corrections.
2nd and 10 here, and that one, I'm not sure where it was going. Jameer Thurman got turned around on it.
I think that was tipped at the line of scrimmage, possibly. Micah Johnson getting the big mid up there. Watch the veteran with the bull rush on Michael Couture and gets that hand up to knock it down. Still getting it done. Has 1 quarterback sack on the season, 6 last year.
He had 3 tackles last week as well. Here's Alford. Takes it at his own 20. And a good tackle down the field immediately by Patrice Rene. Jake Mayer points on the board in that first possession for the Riders. He'll have the ball again when we return on TSN. Regina, any sport, any season, you want to have a good start. The Riders have managed to do that each of the last 2 years here, Suits.
Yeah, very consistent out of the gate. And when you look at their record of 3-0 to get the season started, gets you in a nice position, top of the division, and everyone chasing you. His wins against Ottawa, Hamilton, and the defending champs, the Toronto Argonauts, last week.
I don't want to read too much into it, but with Jamarcus Hardrick, when he starts, they're 7-1 dating back to last year. Remember, he got hurt early last year after that great start. There's a throw down the field, and Keyshawn Johnson tried to one-hand it, covered well by Ronald Kent Jr.
Well, I don't think you're reading too much into it. I mean, Hardrick, who's right here, he's got to make a block off the edge, and he's got Matthew Betts, and he keeps him wide, keeps him away from his quarterback. So that wasn't a play that was successful, but it wasn't on Jamarcus Hardrick on that one.
4-1 last year with him in the lineup, and then a 3-0 start this year. So it was a big get when they brought him in from the Bombers and free agency. And when he's been healthy, they've won games. 2nd and 10. For Mayer, 3 to the left, 3 to the right, takes the snap over the middle, and it's caught just inside the 45. Took some punishment to do it, but Keyshawn Johnson hangs on.
Yeah, that's the danger zone, and Keyshawn Johnson, he knew in order to make this catch, he was going to get hit, and, receivers know that whether you catch it or you don't catch it, you're going to get hit in that area. So you might as well catch it. And he did that.
That was Boyle Yu who got him.
I was going to say, after the 3-0 start last year, Trevor Harris got hurt.
Yep, no, you're right. So injuries certainly did not help along the way. 18 yards to Johnson. 1st and 10 at the 45. Dante Myers, can he get away? No, he's going to be taken down. Nice tackle by Robert Carter Jr.
I would suggest that the rookie, 22-year-old Robert Carter Jr., if he plays another 4 or 5 games, he's taking this play to the house. He was there so quickly and read it so quickly, and then he broke down just to make the tackle instead of play the ball. That's why when he got up, he was like, I had a chance at that, and no one was catching him if he went through that throw.
12 tackles, an interception, and a couple of knockdowns already for the 22-year-old. Looks like a nice find at corner for BC. Mayer with time over the middle. Pass complete once again to Johnson, but it will not be enough. And that'll bring up 3rd down, and they'll be forced to kick it away to the Lions.
Yeah, couple of good throws by Jake Mayer. I like that dig route throw where he threw it away from coverage and Keyshawn Johnson made the catch. I think he's comfortable in the system. Mentioned he's worked with Mueller, the offensive coordinator in Calgary, so he knows the terminology. Doesn't look like he's trying to figure it out on the fly here.
Phillip Brooks back to return. 44-yard kick just inside the 20. Nowhere to go on the return, a couple of yards. And that is it. Riders with a 3-0 lead here at home early in this one. The Indigenous logos look spectacular once again here today in Regina. For more on this, let's send it down to Britt Dorn.
Yeah, you may remember these logos last season when they were launched, but the Riders launched the green scale version, so it was called. Last week they came out with the colored version, so you may see some people in the crowd wearing that tonight. Now that is all for Indigenous celebration night here, the Kiss Saskatchewan game, which is Saskatchewan in Cree, which I have learned. Now the colored logo also represents Indigenous culture when it comes to land, people, their traditions. They even had chiefs for both BC and Saskatchewan holding the flags tonight for the anthem, guys.
Yeah, it's been great. They've done a really good job here so far tonight on that.
The logos are outstanding.
They always look so good, don't they?
Are outstanding.
Saskatchewan number 22. Automatic first down.
This is a pass interference, a little bit of a mugging here down the field. I believe it was the intended target was Justin McInnes. Because it's a point of foul, you can be the judge yourself. Was that enough? I think kind of the arm bar from left hand to the left hand of McInnes, left arm of McInnes by DeMarcus Fields was enough to draw the flag. 39-yard penalty.
First first down that the Lions have had in this game comes by a penalty on the Riders. Butler takes it off the middle. Let's take a look at the Saskatchewan defense.
Well, Mike Rose got his first quarterback sack as a Saskatchewan Roughrider last week in Toronto. And you go back, I talked about the leadership that Jameer Thurman provides at that middle linebacker spot and is leading the league in defensive tackles and defensive plays after 3 weeks. Tavon Campbell, first interception returning to Saskatchewan. Turning home and getting that first pick of the season.
He's looked like a good addition. Absolutely. 4.5 to play here in the first quarter. Lions looking to break through offensively here. Mazzoli near side. Jermaine Jackson never made a play on that. Mazzoli started this game 0 for 4.
They're going to have to get on the same page. Just a couple that have been missed between Mazzoli and Jackson. And you know that Jermaine Jackson playing for Stanley Berryhill. So a little communication issue between the quarterback and receiver there. They'll square that away. This Saskatchewan crowd seems like they're back. Rider Nation kind of back and influencing that offense when they're out there.
Meyer to punt it away from his own 50, a low kick. Wow. And that one is well done. They are going to mark that out at the 10-yard line, a 38-yard kick. That's his fourth that he's put inside the 10 this year for Carl Meyer. More with A.J. Ouellette. Good start to the game for him when we return. A.J. Ouellette has been on a bit of a roll to start the season, averaging more than 6 yards per carry, and had another good one last week.
Yeah, he did. 17 carries in the backfield, 91 yards, just shy of that 100-yard mark, and a touchdown against his old team.
It's got to feel good, doesn't it? Grind it in there a little bit against the old club. So this stretch here is the best two-game stretch of his career, over 180 yards. I looked it up earlier. He's hit 100 yards just twice in a game. I don't know if I looked it up because I'm feeling maybe it happens today, but he's been very consistent over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and we're just getting started tonight, and he's at 35 yards rushing on 3 carries. That big one to start things out in the very first series for the Riders, but he's back and healthy again, and that's been been one of the issues when it comes to A.J. Ouellette, those injuries that crept in there last year.
He's got a couple of touchdowns already on the season as well. Stands into the right of Jake Mayer. They give it to him. Another big hole. And he continues to turn those legs. First down, Riders. Have yourself a first quarter here. A.J. Ouellette, 13 more.
Well, we talked in week 1 about A.J. Ouellette and what he did in the offseason to lose some weight, work on his foot speed, become a little bit quicker in the open field. And you saw an example of that in that run.
Averaging 12 yards per carry so far in this game. BC's going to have to figure out a way to slow him down. They allow the 7th most, or the 3rd most yards per game on the ground this year. That's 7th in the league, 124 per average on the ground this year against this BC defense. They got to find a way to slow him down.
Yeah, it's been too much. And, you know, when you look at their last 2 games, Mike Benavides, the defensive coordinator, I thought there was improvement made from game 1 against Winnipeg and then game 2 against Winnipeg. Game 1, they gave up 200 yards rushing. That's crazy. Game 2, 88 yards. Now, that's still a lot, but it was much better. But they better figure something out here, or A.J. Ouellette's going to have himself a night.
Yeah, he's at 55 already. Bertrand Hudon in there now. They're going to bring some pressure. Mayer, deep shot down the field. Wide open on the near side. Roughriders. And he hauls it in just outside the BC 45. Big play from the offense. Biggest of the career. 34 yards for Joe Roughriders.
And he had to make a tough catch, even though he was wide open. Back shoulder catch, but he had to keep his feet in bounds, and he stabbed that left foot just before the strike. That was a nice catch on the back shoulder.
How is he that wide open? Back to Ouellette. So that's Bertrand Hudon, and he's got a pretty good pickup on first down. Let's take another look at this catch.
Joe Roughriders, who everybody says is a lot like Greg Ellingson. Well, I would suggest that catch right there looks a lot like Greg Ellingson. To have the concentration, back shoulder catch, and get that foot in bounds.
That's just the 4th catch of his young CFL career, but it's of the highlight variety. Of course, he's getting an opportunity because Emelis is out.
Yep.
They move some pieces around, and he finds himself in the starting lineup. Tommy Stevens into the game for short yardage pickup. Runs into a little bit of trouble. Wow. And he loses yards on the play. That is rare for Tommy Stevens.
Thibaut Debaye, who comes in as the extra defensive line, sometime on a rotation basis and sometimes just in short yardage. I think it's Debaye that is going to make the play here. You can't do this against Tommy Stevens. I mean, he never gets stopped. Look at the push by number 40. I mean, that's pushing the line of scrimmage 3 or 4 yards back into Tommy Stevens' face. He's tired of hearing about how good Tommy Stevens is.
Yeah, enough already. All right, so it pushes them back. They're not going to go for it because they lost 2 yards. So it'll be a deep field goal attempt. 48 yards for Lothar. He's just 1 for 3 beyond 40 this year. That one is up, and he's got it. That's his deepest of the season. And the Riders have a 6-0 lead at home against the Lions.
See, Brett Lowther is not really celebrating much just yet. He's still saying, hey, I want to get this whole thing together, put a really good game on the board, and then we'll talk about celebrating later. It's been a rough couple of games for him. Corey Mace has nothing but confidence in his kicker.
He said that a few times, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He really has Lowther's back.
Yeah, he said he's a veteran. He's been through it before. He'll bounce back. His teammates believe in him, and he's 2 for 2 tonight.
Jeremiah Mazzoli is 0 for 4 so far in this game. Flags as the ball is snapped.
Procedure. BC number 57. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
The O-line and quarterback thought it was on 2. The receivers thought it was on 1 because they were a good 10 yards past the line of scrimmage. Again, Nathan Rourke, the starter, close to playing in this game tonight. But he has that midsection core injury, and being extra precautious with him early in this season.
Mazzoli, 1st and 15. Gets it into the hands of Jermaine Jackson. That's the first completion of the game for Mazzoli, and the 6th catch of the year for Jackson.
There's Nathan Rourke, who is dressed tonight, but he's taking light throws, not really with the teamwork. Chase Bryce took the second team reps this week in practice. So even though it was a game day decision for Nathan Rourke, Coach Buck Pierce just decided give him one more week.
Riders load up that defensive line. Micah Johnson might have moved early. Completion to McInnes. He's got a first down. Play came out right away, and then another one on the far side of the field shortly after. 10 yards to McInnes.
Never know if they're drawn, but it did look like Micah Johnson jumped the snap count.
Offside, Saskatchewan number 4. That penalty's declined. The gain is greater, and that's the quarter.
All right, that will do it for the first quarter of action here at Mosaic in Regina, and is the hometown Riders with a 6-0 lead. A couple of field goals from Brett Lothers, how they've done it, as BC will look to find their offense in second quarter action. Well, we were talking about A.J. Ouellette coming into this game. He's on one of the best stretches of his career right now, because over 180 yards last 2 games, and well on his way to surpassing that here tonight.
Well, after one quarter, A.J. Ouellette is on pace for a 200-yard game. So
he'll take it.
Yeah, and that's what, I'm sure Buck Pierce is talking about to his team right now in this break is we've got to stop the run, got to stop A.J. Ouellette. That's been the difference in this first quarter. And the other aspect of that, when you've got the run game going, you take a look at the stats and look at that bottom line, time of possession. So right now the BC Lions are looking at a long night for their defense.
Well, it should make things easier for Jake Mayer too, right? With that running game established here early. Mazzoli trying to get something going for BC. They'll go on the ground. Good jump cut by Butler. Ball pops out. Riders are on it. Was Butler already down? We'll have to get another look at this. They're going to say Saskatchewan ball. Lake Courtney Moore came out of the pile with it. We'll see if this was out before Butler was down. I think it was close, but here we go.
Got possession there. Ruling on the field is fumble. Saskatchewan ball. They'd have to see evidence to overturn
Play
it.
is under review by the replay center.
Turnovers are always reviewed automatically. No challenge necessary from either coach. You see that it went out. You just can't see his legs.
I was going to say, were his knees down? It definitely came out before
His body hit. Yeah.
But were the knees down?
Well, from those two angles, there's no evidence provided there that it wasn't a fumble. However, they're looking at all the different angles in this review to make sure that call was correct.
Replay center going to work right now. Good call early in this game. 6-0 game. Ball's right at midfield. Here's another look at it with a different angle. Let's see when those knees. Knee is down there.
Now,
So this was the one that definitely showed the ball came out, but can we see where his knees go down? That's tough.
can't really tell the knee there. That one just before that angle. I mean, it's got to. Here's the bottom line, and the replay command center has said this year. It's got to be clear and obvious. That's the terminology they use.
After automatic review by the replay center, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Saskatchewan.
Yeah, and the replay center saying You know, and Darren Hackwood, the head of officials this year, saying that clear and obvious is going to be the standard. You got to look at it and go, in a couple of looks, say, was it a fumble or not a fumble? If you don't see anything that changes your mind, then you go ahead and go with the call on the field.
BC Lions turnover ratio this year now -5, is -4 coming in. And that was 8th in the league. Not where you want to be. Back on the ground. A.J. Ouellette. He'll take it up to midfield. Just a 2-yard pickup. But great field position here for the Riders after that turnover.
Yeah, first down away from at least another field goal attempt, but chance to get the offense some traction here and get a couple first downs. But again, you saw the time of possession after quarter one. That BC defense back on the field now after a turnover. And people always say, well, why is it that only the defense gets tired and the offense doesn't when they're out on the field winning the time of possession? The offense knows where they're going. The defense has to react to it. It's a big difference.
Jake Mayer looking to throw here. Deep shot, far sideline, up for grabs, incomplete. Dante Myers working against Gary Peters on that one.
Yeah, that's the vet. The vet in Gary Peters. Myers going to come from off the line of scrimmage. It was a legal formation, little inside cut. Peters not fooled by that. Looking through the receiver to the football, realizing it's going to run. They're going to run out of room and not getting the pass interference call.
Joe Couch stands on his 40. Phillip Brooks will wait to return this on his own 10 out of Kansas State. That will bounce out of bounds. Just inside the BC 15, 42-yard kick from Joe Couch. Mazzoli looking to get something going for this BC offense when we return to Mosaic on TSN. A bit of a slow start for Jeremiah Mazzoli today, but he's a guy who's been around this league for more than a decade and has put up some pretty good numbers.
Yeah, 33 300-yard passing games. That's not chump change. That's 18,000 yards passing. So he can get it done, but he sure hasn't so far tonight.
5,000-yard season in his career as well. Try on the ground again. Butler pushing ahead, takes it out to the 20. That's a 7-yard pickup and their longest carry of the ball game.
Well, what he's facing, though, is this Rider defense that I think has got better as the season has progressed. Game in, game out, they seem to be getting better. We talked about them stopping the run. And the scary part, if you're a BC Lion fan right now, is that the Rider defense in this first quarter and a bit have not done anything exotic. They're not sending blitzes. They're not getting crazy with secondary blitzes or anything like that. They're just playing real base defense and making it tough on Mazzoli.
2nd and 3 for Mazzoli here. Back up the middle on the ground, and that is a first down for James Butler. And maybe that's how they get the offense going here.
Yeah, this can really help. And you start to get Jameer Thurman right at the line of scrimmage and force the defensive coordinator, in this case it's Corey Mays, force him into run blitzing, force him into getting more players at the line of scrimmage, and when you do that, there's room behind them to throw the football.
First and 10 from the 28. Mazzoli throwing here, and he's got a man out at the 45. That was Katoy, who got turned around but was able to haul it in for a pickup of 17.
Saw a great video of the BC Lions coming out of training camp up in Kamloops, and they were talking about their nicknames, and they just walked by the camera. It's online. Walk by the camera, and they talked about their nicknames.
Here goes Butler up to the 50, down to the 40, all the way to the 30. Would not be taken down. Eventually, Campbell finish him off, but a big pickup for James Butler.
Katoy, by the way, was Big Cat.
Big Cat.
And Butler is JB. And JB makes a play here. Beats it who's going to finish it. Keon Hatcher, leader after 3 weeks in receiving yards. But this is a drive for the BC Lions that they desperately needed, and that started with James Butler, and James Butler made the big play in the drive as well.
Yes, sir. Fellas. Big star, yes, sir.
Little celebration with Nathan Rourke. 6-play, 97-yard drive for the Lions. Exactly what the doctor ordered, wasn't it? Sean White out, up, and through. And we've got a 1-point game here in Regina. Second touchdown of the year for Keon Hatcher. The league's leader in receiving yards finds the end zone.
Well, they got James Butler going, the BC Lions. It starts out with a nice run by Butler. Got a first down with a couple of carries. He bounces this one for over 30 yards. James Butler in game 1 versus Winnipeg rushed for 27 yards. In game 2, it was only 44. On that drive alone, he had 53 yards rushing, capped off by the Keon Hatcher touchdown catch.
Get the offense going on the ground. That's what they did, and then Mazzoli finished the job. Alford, he's been known to respond, hasn't he? Takes it just inside the 10. And we'll get it back out to the 30. Another special teams tackle for Patrice Rene.
There was a big hit, too, right at the point of attack on that. Special teams.
I believe Alford's had 3 returns in this game. Renee's got 3 special teams tackles.
Well,
he's got them every time.
They watched the game last week.
Hey, guys, when number 2 gets it,
corral him.
and have enough guys on the field.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up happening there. Renee's able to track him down. So they'll start at the 30. Jake Mayer, 5 of 8 for 65. Monster first half so far for A.J. Ouellette. He'll fake the handoff to him. Now he slings it far side. First down. Unless it was bobbled. Oh, Dante Myers will want that one back.
I'm not going to give him an alibi, but their son just setting right near that sideline. Did that affect it in any way? No, okay. No alibi there. He just dropped it.
Unless his arms were impacted. I mean, that was thrown perfectly. Yeah, no, it was great there. Mark it down, a drop for Myers. He had a huge game last week. 125 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2nd and 10 now. Mayer has that batted down. Matthew Betts, I believe, right in front of him. And back-to-back 2-and-outs for the Riders.
Matthew Betts still looking for his first quarterback sack of the 25 campaign, but has provided a ton of pressures, which is tracked as well, and he'll get the knockdown on that play.
I have DTs. I got anchor job, D.
Should be decent field position for Jeremiah Mazzoli.
Couch stands on the 15. That will bounce at the 43. And then the Lions bounce and it ends up bouncing out. We'll mark it down at the 48. So we'll see if BC, after just a 32-yard kick, can build on the drive they just put together.
Well, I'm sure that Corey Mays in that break went to his defense guys, hey, we're a run-stopping defense. We're averaging 45.3 yards a game against along the ground. And Butler just ran for 50 in one series.
And has 63 so far in the game. So already surpassing those regular Rider numbers. They like to get him involved in the passing game a little bit as well. None of that yet. They'll go back to him here. Thurman there to throw him down.
Lead by example, Jameer Thurman. And if it wasn't Corey Mace, I guarantee it was Thurman reminding his his guys, gap responsibilities, all scrape. Scrape meaning the D linemen take their gaps and he scrapes to the opening and makes the tackle on the running back. We want to keep that middle linebacker free so he's not blocked by a big man.
Crowd and Mosaic trying to get behind this defense. 2nd and 6. Early movement. Mazzoli on the run. Tracked down. Ball pops out. It'll be blown dead, though.
Sent pressure, sent C.J. Rivas. I think the Riders were offside, unless they were drawn.
I think the Riders were offside here, but a little bit of a longer discussion. Corey Mace watching on.
There was early movement from the Riders on the defensive side of the ball. However, it's sometimes difficult to see if there was any flinches up front from the offensive line. And right now the replay center is helping.
Saskatchewan number 95. Intentional grounding, BC number 11. Those penalties will offset. It's still 2nd down.
So it wasn't a fumble, but because it was behind the line of scrimmage, so because there was no running back or receiver near where the ball bounced, that's intentional grounding. You see, it was Baldonado, I think, that was offside. And then this is grounding because there's no back near it. However, yeah, no Lions receiver in the vicinity.
So we'll do it again. 2nd and 6. Mazzoli moving Jermaine Jackson down in the slot to his right. Riders send 4. Mazzoli pressured out of the pocket on the run. 1st down and a slide for the Lions quarterback.
Still do this, doesn't do it often, but won't do it as much as Nathan Rourke does it, but he'll take off and run. He's got good speed. Just 3 yards rushing in his first start last week against Winnipeg. Rourke in his first game against Edmonton, and a little bit of that second game against Winnipeg before he's hurt had over 100 yards rushing.
Officials are still figuring out where this ball is going to be spotted. Now that is the first time we've seen them actually rule that it was a 1st down. Solely with the slide very close to where he needed to be. A work from the Rider, 52. Mazzoli gets it away over the middle, deflected, almost intercepted. Tipped by one Rider, I believe, and then it was sitting there waiting. And Lacombo couldn't get underneath it.
I think Jameer Thurman in the middle of your screen is going to get his hands on this one. He's coming on that A-gap blitz between the center and the guard. He gets his hand on it, and then it's just a free-for-all. Ball's bouncing around, tipped.
Roland Milligan, the tip clean shot. Yeah. Tipped twice before it got to Lacombo territory. He had 8 of those last year. 2nd and long, empty backfield for Mazzoli. And his left tackle jumped the gun. Jarrell Broxton.
BC number 69.
That's one for the crowd.
5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
You get 1 or 2 of those when you're playing either here, Princess Auto. You can get a couple of those if you're the visiting team in that stadium too, in Winnipeg.
Great crowd here today at Mosaic as well on a Canada Day long weekend. It turned out in bunches. Small sprinkling of orange spattered among the green. 6.5 to go. First half, 2nd and 15. Lions. Mazzoli dumps it off. There's Butler out of the backfield. Has some blocks, but not enough. Takes it down inside the 50.
Now is it out of range?
The wind would be at his back here, but I'd be surprised if they bring Sean White out for this one.
By the way, when all the guys were walking by the camera telling the nickname, their nickname in Sean White. We mentioned Katoy is Big Cat. James Butler, JB. So they'd walk by the camera and they'd say well, Sean White walked by and they asked him and he said, old man.
Let's just call a spade a spade. Sean White's been kicking in this league for 17 years, so makes sense.
They're not going to put him out there. It's too far.
Yeah, this would have been about a 55, 56-yarder. Carl Morrow will play the field position game. Drops it in there, low kick. Morrow Alford takes it at the 10. Alford looking to find some room on the far side of the field. Multiple flags here anyway as he takes it out just shy of the 40. But this will be coming back for the Riders. Man, I love when that guy cranks it up a notch as he tries to stretch it out to the far side of the field. BC on the road with a lead against the Riders. Well, after half a decade in Calgary, Jake Mayer now with the Riders. For more on that, let's send it down to Brent Dort.
And you know what? Actually, his last CFL start was in Mosaic Stadium with the Calgary Stampeders last season. Now, of course, he talked about it being bittersweet getting the start this week because, of course, it came at the expense of Trevor Harris's injury. Now, someone he's very familiar with, his offensive coordinator, Mark Mueller, because he used to be the quarterbacks coach in Calgary. So he said, yeah, I know this offense pretty well with him. He's added a little sprinkle since. Now, one thing that I loved is a reporter asked him if he needed this fresh start in Saskatchewan, and he joked, well, yeah, because it kept me employed. But he noted, hey, it's been refreshing joining this Riders organization.
Yeah, you know, we spoke to him earlier in the week, and he spoke very highly of where he now plays in Saskatchewan. Was blown away by the organization, brought his buddy Tommy Stevens with him.
Knew Mark Mueller very well. And got a chance to work in the same quarterback room with Trevor Harris.
Yeah. Well, we said you had Bo, now you have Trevor.
Yeah.
You know, and the differences between the two guys.
And by the way, Trevor Harris very close to getting the start, but still going through the protocol from the hit last week.
The Riders are on a bye next week, so no reason to rush. Jake Mayer, a veteran quarterback in this league, bouncing around the pocket, trying to take off, will not get there. Matthew Betts brings him down.
Is that a sack? Get him behind the line of scrimmage.
That'll be his first of the year.
Get that sprinter's stance. He's got that right hand just kind of shaking there. Keeps working, doesn't give up on the play. He earned that one. He earned the first, the 25 campaign. It's like taking free throws on your own in your backyard. You got to make the first one to get in the rhythm.
Then you get going.
You got to get going.
Excellent field position looming here for the Lions as this punt is taken just inside the 50. Brooks on the return, but a flag out at the 45. That was thrown just as Brooks took the ball.
Almost always illegal blocks. Yep. You know, and I know that there's people that get angry with the officials when there's a lot of calls, but
there's some you just have to call, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, guys, Ezekiel Tied, tackled him.
So a 62-yard swing after a pretty good punt, and then the penalty tossed on. And Mazzoli will start with the ball here on his own 38, 3.5 to work with. Just one catch for McInnes so far in this ballgame. Back to Butler on his punt. Oh, boy. Marcus Sayles with a wake-up call to James Butler. That's one way to slow him down.
And led with the shoulder. Excellent timing. And Butler hangs on and walks right back to the huddle.
raucous sales. You know what we do? We see
That's what we like. That's what we like.
It's called a table
Table bangers, baby.
Sales.
Join us at half.
We need more.
Everybody loves a good, clean hit, hey?
I hear you. The physicality's still in this game. You know, and players defensively have learned over the last now 7 to 10 years as the rules have evolved. You can still be physical, just take the helmet out of it. And Marcus Sales did that perfectly.
Yeah, that was textbook.
Yeah.
2nd and 5. Mazzoli gets it away. Butler again defended well. And broken up on the play by Shane Ray.
You know, this is a small thing, but I think this is what Buck Pierce was talking about, just the decision and the placement of the football here. This is going to be another just flat route. But even though it's a high percentage throw, the accuracy of it isn't there. So stop it right. Well, we're going to lose it just below that shot. But as it comes out, it's just a little bit high and behind James Butler, so he can't protect himself. See, this ball's a little bit behind him. He has to reach back, and here comes pressure from the inside. If he leads him low into the outside, he might be able to turn the corner and beat that tackle. So just a little bit off in the accuracy department from Mazzoli there.
3rd 2 and out of the game for the Lions.
Yes!
Meyer hangs one up there. Alford takes it. 63-yard kick.
Again.
And another flag on the play here.
I think Patrice
on special
Rene.
teams. Was it Rene downfield again? Maybe some sort of special teams tackle record here.
He had a good breakfast. You know, we talked about Tommy Stevens and his short yardage and Patrice Rene and his coverage in this game tonight. You know, the important part about when you're on the special teams or have a specific job like Tommy Stevens does in short yardage, you got to just love your role. And, you know, when we asked Jake Mayer about Tommy Stevens in short yardage, he just said, you know, he loves his role. Corey Mays pulled us out.
On the kick, BC number 6. It's a 10-yard penalty. It'll be applied. Still 3rd down.
So Corey Mays saying to us, you know, Tommy Stevens gets in short yardage. He takes great pride in being the best at short yardage. So if you're a young kid, Patrice Rene, his job in this game is to cover kicks against one of the premier punt returners in the league. He's taken it on as a challenge, and he's made a bunch of tackles. Just love the role you're given, be the best you can be at it, and good things will happen. And next thing you know, you're starting on defense.
Yeah, eventually, right?
Yeah.
You do enough good things. Now they're going to do it again. He's got a chance for another one. Because they're, after the penalty, you're back it up 10 yards and then kick it again. Give Alford another chance to maybe break one here. And just quickly on Tommy Stevens, you mentioned about buying into your role. He's a short yards quarterback that's averaging 3.8 yards per carry this year, which is kind of ridiculous. All right, so let's do it again. Alford lurks, this time back just inside his 30. Yes. That kick will back him up. It's a good one again. 61-yard kick. Alford trying to find some space. Got a little bit, stays on his feet. Trying to get to the outside. Tackle made by Halatic, but not before a good return from Alford.
Another penalty. Late penalty flag. I was about to say that cover team, when you have a penalty after you've covered one, you go back. There's Patrice Rene at the point of attack. Alfred was tired of seeing 24 in front of him, so it got away from him. I think the penalty might have been further down the play, but we have to cover
After
again.
the play, there's offsetting misconduct penalties against BC number 47 and Saskatchewan number 38.
Okay, so the return will stand. Return will stand, but when you're on the cover team, you go 45 yards in a barroom brawl, try to tackle Mario Alford, and then a penalty happens, you got to do it again. You're still breathing hard, and you have to cover again. Look at Patrice Rene trying to grab his breath, like, oh, okay, that was back-to-back. That's getting tough. Get some O2 over there.
All right, so the offsetting penalties have this ball at the Rider 48. Jake Merritt stepping up in the pocket.
again, we'll have to take another look at it.
The flag foul roughing the passer, BC number 90. 15-yard penalty. First down.
All right, so Matthew Betts for roughing the passer.
We'll take a look at the penalty. There's Betts. Bottom of your screen. Ball gone. Oh. Oof. Okay. Oh, man.
What a hit.
Now, what's the panel doing right now? Are they under their chairs? They're under their chairs on these hits that are
Enoch's running around somewhere right now. He doesn't even care.
Christophe Beaulieu wants to be clear that the ball was there. I led with the shoulder. It was a great hit. Take a look at that 24 draft. There's 3 key starters in this game. Christophe Beaulieu, one of them. He went 26. Del Duncan Busby, who we haven't called yet, but he's going to be important with Sam Emlis out. And I talked about Daniel Johnson. You know, that's a big draft. When those guys are all on the roster for this game for both teams, BC and Saskatchewan. And Beaulieu's coming into his own. He's physical. Now, he can play down in that cover DB in a pinch too. And look at the timing on this hit. I mean, ball arrives and so does he at the same time. Dante Myers, he led with his shoulder, just explaining to the official, like, separated the football from the receiver. First pick of his career last week.
Bridles will work from the BC 47. A.J. Ouellette, haven't heard his name in a while. Right back to it. It's a first down. Was working so well earlier in the game. It kind of got away from it, but give him 12 here.
And I'm sure there's BC fans saying, hey, you didn't really comment on the Matthew Betts roughing the passer. I'll just use the word extremely marginal. The 2 words.
That's a nice way to put it.
Extremely marginal call there. It almost like they bumped into each other by accident.
If I was Matthew Betts, I'd be pretty furious with that flag.
Yeah.
A.J. Ouellette again. Found a bit of a hole. Takes it down just shy of the BC 30. And a nice drive being put together here by the Riders, looking to get some points before the end of the half.
Boy, they really have had success in this one tonight when they get A.J. Ouellette going. You know, whether it's in first or second down, can use him in the screen game too. He's got to take a rest in this one on second down, but he has been the key. When they've gone away from him, BC's defense stepped up.
So after 4 more on the ground, 2nd and 6. Mayer stepping up in the pocket, bouncing around. Matthew Betts trying to get him. Will he get there? Help from Hendricks, and they do. Betts is slow to get up. Is that friendly fire there? Because Hendricks came in as well. Jake Mayer had nowhere to go.
Well, it looked like Matthew Betts was favoring his arm, but I'm not sure that's where he got hit. Swim move, textbook swim move, comes back after Mayer keeps bouncing around, and I think he might have got it
right there. See Hendricks?
Yeah, he did. Well, we'll see.
All right, so a 45-yarder for Brett Lawther. This would give the Riders the lead. That is up, and that one turned in just in time, didn't it? Saskatchewan goes on top 9-7.
Still not celebrating. Still not celebrating.
3 for 3 day.
Yeah, just lots of football to be played. You know, he went deep into the last game with a couple of extra points and then missed the field goal that was the first pressure kick he's made since the game before that, which he really struggled in. So still fighting those mental demons, and so far 3 for 3, but no celebration.
Coming up at the half, Kate, Enoch, and Lapo breaking down this one. Pretty physical affair, some pretty big hits in this game. Here's Butler. Good first move, then turns it upfield. Takes it out beyond the 45-yard line, a pickup of 6. again, straight up the middle, almost to midfield. First down Lions with 54 seconds on the clock.
About 15 yards from makeable field goal for the old man.
Sean White's long on the season. 43, Mazzoli wants to throw here. Wide open. Jackson's got it inside the 50. And down to the 48 with 44 on the clock. As BC moves quickly, 8-yard pickup there. Second and 2. Butler diving ahead. That's a first down for the Lions. And they'll give them a fresh set, just under 40 to go until halftime.
Yeah, so 43 the longest this year for Sean White.
And if they need to go to him, he's hit 18 in a row. Mazzoli, flag, deep shot, hauled in down to the end zone, touchdown BC, but I think it's coming back. I think it was actually McInnes who got the touchdown.
Offside.
That jumped.
Number 18.
It was.
First down.
A little more wind down there by the official. There's down at the bottom is Justin McInnes. See ahead of the snap? Yep. Saw man-to-man coverage. No safety help. And thought this might be a chance for a big one. He actually got it, but jumped the gun. It's a big penalty, too, because it's out of field goal range now.
Yeah, that was a big one. Tough one to take for McInnes. Clearly, though. To be called. His only throw here gets it away quickly. Everhart for the first time today. Back down inside the 40 with 22 seconds left on the clock. What do they got time for here, Suits?
Take a deep shot, and if you can make that play like McInnes does, I mean, a jump ball even for him, and then line up for a field goal if you don't get it.
Second and 2. Or hand it off. Hand it off to Butler. And Butler will take it down inside the 30 with 16 seconds on the clock.
Or hand it off up the middle. And now in makeable range, 2 timeouts for the Lions still.
3 to the right, 3 to the left for Mazzoli. Clock ticks. Mazzoli with some time. Far side. Intercepted. Oh my goodness, on the far side of the field. It's taken away. All the way back down, it's Campbell. He'll take it to the 20. What a swing. To the end zone. Touchdown. Riders. 87-yard pick six. Come on. Campbell gets it done.
When you get one, they come in bunches. One last week for Devon Campbell. He got his first of the season, and this is jumping the out. The timing a little late to Keon Hatcher. From Jeremiah Mazzoli, and goodbye. Devon Campbell is gone.
Crowd erupting at Mosaic as Campbell took it back almost 90 yards to the house. They'll officially say it was an 89-yard return at the end of the half. What a swing. Riders are up 16-7.
And right now the panel is going, those notes are out. Little late on the throw, and Campbell is gone. See ya.
Nobody was catching him. We're sitting here talking about BC in field goal range. Could take a lead going into the half, and instead 6 the other way. And Jeremiah Mazzoli will want that one back. All right. The touchdown man standing by with Britt Dork.
Well, what a way to finish off the half. It didn't feel like there was a lot going for it. Tell me about the play.
I mean, it's just got to keep my eyes on the quarterback.
seen it out there. I want to grab it.
Well, talk about this defense and how you can continue this momentum in the second half.
We just got to pay attention to the small things, attention to details, go out there and execute like we know we can.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We'll send things off to Kate and the panel. What a finish, guys.
Britt, this has been absolutely wild, to be quite honest with you. First, we were going to talk about AJ Ouellette when the Riders were going to be up, but then BC looked like they were going to kick a field goal there, so we were going to start with the Lions and that successful drive. But then that happens, and now our plans have just been thrown all out the window. Lapo, we've been talking about the entire first half here, and Jeremiah Masoli, and you know what, leaving the ball a little bit short and leaving some of his receivers out to drive. And I was saying, too, is that his fault? I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a great pick six, but what happened specifically on that play?
Yeah, certainly. I think what he got caught and recognized, this is the throw to the wide side of the field you don't like to do, but he saw Tavon Campbell start to go inside. I think he thought it was what people call a trap coverage, but Tavon kind of fooled him. He didn't move too far out. That's plenty of room and time for him to undercut that football. So I think it was a great disguise by him, and then Masoli doesn't recognize it well enough, and then that throw is in the air a long time for the interception.
Whether it was trap coverage or he was baiting, Tavon Campbell did an amazing play.
Yeah.
And when he runs like that, Kate,
no one's catching
there's not a lot of guys that
even Davis Sanchez in his prime would catch
yes, absolutely. Hey, but I'll say this one point. There's 3 or 4 penalties for offsides by the BC Lions, so the crowd for the Riders getting into it. Don't forget, that would have been a touchdown if that wasn't an offsides for the BC Lions.
Yeah. Can you imagine, too, going into a half right now, those Rider fans in the concourse? Let's talk about the Riders for a moment. It was interesting because they started the game running the ball with AJ Ouellette, who was very successful. Then they got away from it, but then they came back to it and once again successful. So we assume in the second half we're going to see a lot more of this run game, Lapo.
Yeah, and I think AJ Ouellette's done a really good job. I think right now he's averaging 8.8 yards per carry, and you saw it on that first drive. This is a long yard, 26-yard run for him to start the game. You know, just, hey, the key is on 1st and 10, can you get positive yards? And what they've got to do a better job, it's not running the football. He's got 79 yards. You need more opportunities. Where they have hurt themselves is there been a couple of sacks, and Jake Mayer hasn't continued to keep them when it's long yardage situations. He hasn't gotten the first downs. They've had a couple of sacks. They've had a couple of incompletions. So, Enoch, if you want the tailback to keep carrying the football, you need more first downs. So I think that's what they got to do.
Agreed. And on the flip side, too, you got to give credit where credit's due. And it feels like the BC Lions are still in this game. They come out of the second quarter, really nice play calls on behalf of Buck Pierce. And I think just making it short and easy for Masoli right now has to be the answer.
It's interesting, Kate. You got 2 guys that are not the respective starters for their teams coming in, and their allies, their running backs, are the guys that really starting things off for them. You see James Butler here gets the ball and gets the drive running, and he gets it again and gets another burst, and he's able to go. You see Michael Johnson tries to tackle with one arm. It's not going to get him down, and then Javon Couture comes over the middle, a tough catch over the middle, and he's able to continue this drive. Now, James Butler continues on, and again, when he's able to do this, guess what they go to, Coach? We talked about it. Tempo. They start to go tempo. No huddle offense by Buck Pierce over there. That's what allows Hatcher to finally get into the end zone. So they're going to have a mix of obviously allowing James Butler to touch the ball a little bit more. He's at 92 yards right now at the half, and also involve the tempo right now, especially like you mentioned, Coach. They're having a hard time with the cadence at the line.
Also on the defense side, can we give a little love to Christophe Beaulieu? He is really coming into his own right now, and I know we gave the table banger for Marcus Sales, but I'll tell you this, Beaulieu. And Dusty said, by the way, you were doing a lap. Do you want to do a lap right now, or is this not?
Maybe not right now.
No?
But
Why not?
But I'll bang the tables,
no,
though.
Are you wearing shorts to work tonight? Is this why?
Okay, why would you even assume that?
Great hit by Beaulieu. We got plenty more coming up after the break as we're going to break down the final game of week number 4 between the Red Blacks and the Argonauts.
Vibe check, what's the temperature? The forecast looks hot, here's a tip for you. We got everything you need that I failed to mention. If you can't stand the heat, I'm a known winner, natural born leader. Call me the people's champ, cause I give it to the people, and the people wanna have it, cause the people know they need it. When it comes to the vibe, I am undefeated. Celebrate, sleep, wake up, and repeat it. Celebrate, sleep, wake up, and repeat it. That's how it goes. If you don't understand, gotta let you know.
Week 4 in the CFL wrapping up tomorrow, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. The Toronto Argonauts visiting the Ottawa Red Blacks. It is a rematch of the Eastern semi-final, and the best part about this game is the panel will be on location. How perfect. Ottawa celebrating the best country in the entire world with the finale of week number 4. Let's talk about these Toronto Argonauts for just a moment. And look, injuries have just hampered this team. We found out this week that we're not going to see Chad Kelly till at least week number 7. Good news, Janarian Grant is coming back. But overall, Enoch, it does seem like there's an urgency right now for the Argonauts because they can't fall in this big of a hole this early in the season.
You can't. You never want to. I mean, you see Hamilton Tiger Cats last night also got a win. And so now it gives you, again, you talk about the sense of urgency, Kate. The injuries are there, and it sucks, and it's especially this early in the season, Coach. But at the end of the day, this team needs to find a way to get the victories. They were close last week. They got close. Saskatchewan, well, they gave themselves a chance. Nick Arbuckle himself gave themselves a chance to win the game. But at the end, again, one of the biggest things that they cannot afford to do is the amount of penalties that they had last week. 300 yards or more in penalties is never going to give you a chance to win it. So limit those penalties and give yourselves a chance.
I think the most important thing for the Toronto Argonauts is they got to find a way to stop the run. They've really struggled that this year. Dustin Crum last year was, you know, they didn't throw the ball. They didn't need to throw the ball. They ran the football so much. 239 yards for Ottawa last week. Hey, when you play good defense, when you don't turn the ball over on offense. Calgary had 5 turnovers last week versus the Red Blacks, so they found a recipe to win. They're going to do that again to the Toronto Argonauts. The Argonauts can't stop the run, and they can't get takeaways right now, so that's a big deal for them. They're going to be able to find a way to stop the run.
They're also not running the ball well. That's another portion. I mean, we can go down the list right now. On the flip side for the Ottawa Red Blacks, I was with the team this week, and there is some positivity. Obviously, the momentum coming off the Calgary win. It's hard to judge the Calgary win because of that horrific weather, but you know what? It's momentum.
Absolutely. You want to find the momentum. You want to start to build it. And it starts with one. They found a way to get it done last week. They're going to try and do it again. Again, you look at the guys like Geno Lewis, and you look at those guys that started to kind of cool off ever since Drew Brown fell off and wasn't able to play for this team. They're going to have to find a way to get him involved early and often if they want to find a way to get success.
Yeah, and playing at home is obviously last year, Coach Dyson and his staff did a great job of getting all those wins, best record at home last year in the Canadian Football League. So it'll be an interesting, fun. I can't wait to see you guys there. I'm calling the game. We'll see you guys on the sideline. It should be a lot of fun.
And we're talking about running game too. Dan Adebaboya last week had a huge game. And back, so you got to keep it going.
You know what, too? We need to keep going. You running around the set every time a big hit happens. You know what, Dustin Nielsen? You were right.
I didn't know.
Well, you're practicing because I heard you're actually going to race the world's fastest cow in Calgary. No, it is. It's true. No, it's not too soon. The game is on Thursday, and here's Enoch. Look at the speed. You know what? Milt Stegall would be disappointed.
He would. He ran so fast his pants fell off.
Yeah. Why are you wearing shorts?
It's just one of those days, Kate. Get ready for my flight.
Well, it's a beautiful Saturday at Mosaic Stadium here in Regina. The fans are loving it as their Riders, looking to go to 4-0, have a 16-7 lead at the half. Turnovers, obviously an issue for BC. James Butler's been good, though, and he's standing by with our Brent Torque.
To the half. So what was the message to get the momentum back on your side?
Just protect the ball. You know, just as long as we're protecting the ball, we're driving. We just got to protect the ball.
Well, over 100 yards for you in the first half on the ground. How can you continue that here in the second half?
Just keep leaning on them. That's what I told my guys. Just keep leaning on them, and let's get in that box.
Thanks for this one, James.
Thank you.
That guy's just 8 yards away from a 100-yard gain. So keep him going. He's got a couple of catches as well. The Riders with the lead will get the ball, though, to start the quarter.
There's Mario Alford. He and Patrice Rene are having quite the battle on special teams in this one tonight. We'll keep our eye on that as well.
Carl Meyer with a low driving kick. Alford's going to watch it, take it on a single bounce. And Mario Alford back to the 40. And that is where Jake Mayer will get the ball for the first time in the second half.
Well, this offense in the first half, Mayer was 5 of 10, 65 yards passing, no interceptions, no touchdowns. According to Britt on the sideline, he won't have to worry about Matthew Betts. He is out for the remainder of this game, according to the Lions staff.
All right, so Matthew Betts out of the game. Looked like he injured his left arm. Going after Jake Mayer. Now A.J. Ouellette pushing it ahead. First touch of the half. And he'll get 4 yards on that one.
Thor's got to go get his lid back. Spin move at the line here gets him a couple. Nathan Cherry, the University of Saskatchewan, is going to get some reps for Matthew Betts, third overall pick in 22.
Zach Fry into the game at left guard here as well in place of Trevon Tate. Something to maybe get an update on as there's Jake Mayer. Quick release up to midfield. And a first down for the Riders.
That is an interesting move. We'll see. Britt can find out what happened with Trevon Tate, because Zach Fry is their sixth offensive lineman for the Riders, but he's the only other offensive lineman dressed.
So he has come into the game with Trevon Tate not returning after leaving in the first half. First and 10 midfield. A.J. Ouellette again. Can he find a hole? Stiff arm, but can't get away. And he's taken down. Managed to get around some pressure early on there from Ronald Kent Jr. And now getting into it a little bit with Deontay Williams.
Keeping my nickname theme alive here, because I really enjoyed that.
You love these nicknames,
that video. When Deontay Williams walked by, they asked him his nickname. He said, "Oh, that's the easy one. I'm D-Train."
D-Train. Yeah. I could be D-Train. D-Train. Williams just tackled A.J. Ouellette's arm there to bring him down. Second and 7 for Mayer, the Riders offense. Lions only send 4. Jake gets it away over the middle. That is caught. Looking for the first down. Going to be stopped just short. Romastelli with his second catch.
D-Train again with the tackle there, Dustin. And, you know, with Tommy Stevens, even though he's been stopped once, be surprised if Corey Mace doesn't.
They are bringing Stevens out.
Back-to-back plays by Williams.
Williams, third-year guy out of Nebraska. 13 tackles already on the season. Mixed in a couple more here today.
Tommy Stevens, you mentioned averages 3. He's going to need all 3. It might be a penalty. There's a penalty flag.
So this would be coming in from the replay center. And it's going to be a first down for the Riders. And is this a horse collar tackle?
Major foul, horse collar tackle.
It is.
DC. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Sure, I don't think Corey Mace challenged this. So this
he did.
This was a call on a major penalty.
DC number 9.
I mean, it fits the definition of the rule, which is, you know, any time you're behind on the shoulder pads, the guy you're tackling doesn't have to go backwards for it to be a penalty. So it fits the definition, but it looks like that call came from the replay center.
It wasn't made on the field. There was no challenge. So that's the replay center blowing that one in to make sure they got it right. So now down to the BC 32. A.J. Ouellette again. And look at the secondary push here. Takes it all the way down to the BC 25. That is a hard 7 yards for A.J. Ouellette.
I won't do it now. Maybe on your show one day.
Okay.
In Edmonton, or maybe on CKRM here in Saskatchewan on one of my radio hits. But I'd love to give my opinion on penalties called from the replay center. We won't go there now.
The fact that it's being brought up lets me know where I think you'd go on that one. Tommy Stevens would have had, it would have been 2 yards, so the drive might have continued anyway, but the penalty came in. Automatic first down for the Riders, and we'll see if they can put points on the board because of that. Bertrand Hudon pushing ahead. Look at those feet. Kept going. Close to a first down. I think he's got it.
a good drive for Saskatchewan to start the second half after the way the first half, after the way the first half ended with Devon Campbell taking it to the house and grabbing all that momentum. The Lions desperately needed a stop here, and they certainly do now to hold Saskatchewan to at least a field goal attempt.
Got an injured BC Lion down on the field near the 10-yard line. That is Robert Carter Jr. They're fixing something. His helmet?
Tyler Coyle out of Purdue, a rookie, like he's going to have to come in. Something with his right hand, possibly.
So if you're the Riders, well, Coyle's going back to the sideline. I was going to say, if you're the Riders, do you attack him? But it looks like they're going to move Ronald Kent Jr. out to the corner.
Deontay Williams at halfback. Well, now they're rotating.
They're going to bring 5 this time. Mayer out into the flats. That is caught, tackled immediately by Williams. Duncan Busby's first catch of the ball game. Goes for a loss on the play.
Well, the Riders are moving the ball, and there was, one penalty. But Deontay Williams has been all over the field here on this drive. He's made like 4 tackles. Sorry, that was the inside receiver. It was the third receiver inside that was tackled by Williams.
Riders looking to enter the red zone for the first time in the game. Maybe the end zone here, who knows? Mayer dumps it over. A.J. Let's got it, has a blocker. Couldn't get away. Good tackle made on the play by Alway. But more offense from A.J. Let.
Yeah, Alway is going to drop here. He would have been there quicker, but he drops into pass protection mode first and then has to redirect to go and make this tackle on the screen. So he gave up about 3 or 4 yards. Still a good tackle, young fielder, or let's still run and probably scores. But that 4 or 5-yard drop meant that Alway wouldn't get there before the first down yardage was gained.
Hendricks down on the field right now as they take a look at his left leg. He's just had an outstanding start to the season and his career. Now with it being in BC, we'll step away as they take a look. All right, so the good news here is that Hendricks is up and walking off, appears to be fine. They were looking at his left leg, so he's head over. They've got the tent up right now to take a peek at him. It's 1st and 10 for the Riders from the BC 11 as they try to open this up a little bit, but that Lions defensive line now, no Matthew Betts, and for the moment, no Hendricks. So go to some rotation guys on the D-line. BC will have to. Let's try to find some space. Nothing opens up this time. Short pickup on first down. A little bit of fire coming out of the bottom of that pile.
Yeah, there are 3 backup defensive linemen dressed for the Lions. Nathan Cherry, who I mentioned, Christian Covington, and Thibaut Debaye. So Cherry's getting some more reps with both Matthew Betts and Hendricks. Even though he looked okay, he's going to have to wait at least 3 plays because the training staff came out to get him.
Tehema, Marcus Moore, and Toure on that line for BC here. 2nd and 8 for Mayer. Back to A.J. Allen again, looking for the end zone. A big day for A.J. Allen. And now he's got a major.
When Deontay Williams moves out to halfback for the BC a chance, but he takes an angle that is outrun by A.J. Ouellette. That was the only opportunity for the Lions to make that play in the backfield, hold the Riders to a field goal, but he's a rookie. Little late reacting. A.J. Ouellette made him pay, and he's having a night.
10-play, 69-yard drive to start the half, 7:26, 100-yard game for A.J. Ouellette, just the third of his career. Long way to go in this one, and they're going to go for 2. Ouellette directly in behind Jake Mayer. They fake it. Mayer on the run to his right, looking for somebody back in the end zone. No. And they'll come up empty, looking for 2. But the lead right now, juicy one for the Riders. They're on top 22-7. A.J. Ouellette with the rushing touchdown, his third of the season.
Game, his third for A.J. Ouellette of his career. And we've got a lot of football to play here in this one tonight. There's the touch to get him started. 10-play drive, 69 yards. That's the touchdown run right there. 7 minutes and 26 seconds. Penalty aided. And I bring up the penalty because it's an interesting one.
BC's going to have to find a way to get their offense going here. Butler's been the only effective bright spot of it so far. Brooks on the return, takes it out beyond the 30, and that is where Jeremiah Mazzoli will have the ball. When we return to Mosaic on TSN. Injury bug starting to catch up to the BC Lions. For more, let's send it down to Britt Dort.
Yeah, well, and to first quickly go to the Riders, you guys mentioned off the top, no Trayvon Tate. He has been ruled out with that upper body injury, but defense taking a major hit. You mentioned Betts, but now Hendricks as well with that hamstring injury. Will be out for the rest of the game. He's been on the sideline here, very emotional. A lot of teammates coming up to him, trying to make sure that he's okay, but it's going to be a tough blow for this Lions defense.
A little breezy on the sidelines, but Britt held in strong. Hey, well done, Britt.
Now, there is more wind down there than I saw in one call by the officials. His shirt flapping in the wind, too, so tricky wind. It comes off the corner, Mosaic Stadium, kind of swirls around, tough to gauge it at times. It is sunk below ground level, so protected a little bit.
Mazzoli, 9 of 16, 97 yards, a touchdown and interception. Out into the flat to Jackson. Jackson gets a couple of blocks, steps out of bounds after picking up close to 5 on the play.
A couple of late successful drives for Jeremiah Mazzoli, and then the big mistake and the timing of that wide field out. Our coach on the panel, Paul Lapalese, talking about that long wide field out. It's a dangerous throw if you don't throw it on time. Devon Campbell said, thank you, goodbye.
The lefty on the backfield for Mazzoli here.
Oh, what happened?
And I'm not sure if that just slipped out of his hand or what happened. That came out basically thrown directly down.
You know what? I think he changed his mind mid-throw. Jameer Thurman was cutting underneath this, and I think that shot of Chase Bryce on the sideline is kind of what probably BC Lion fans are thinking right now. Is it time to give him a chance? Because Mazzoli looked to that inside throw to James Butler, but Jameer Thurman cut underneath it, and he pulled the trigger back. He just tried to hold off and let it go.
Pulled the trigger back, but the bullet still left. It fell incomplete. Here's Alford, takes it after a 63-yard kick. Near sideline, gets out of harm's way, just outside the 30, as the Lions were coming after him there.
So we'll take a look at the BC Lion D line. mentioned Covington, number 56. Likely to see a little bit of him.
Drive starts on the 30. A.J. Ouellette again, right up the middle. Almost got it all. That'll be close to another first down. They'll give him 9. He's over 110 yards in this game.
So Mike Benavides has to go into his depth. Try and stop the run. And the other way he can do it is start to get the linebackers involved. That means Mike Alway trying to fill some holes. But when you do that, as I've mentioned before, you get the linebackers snug in the line of scrimmage. That opens up those intermediate crosser routes. High percentage throws and quick to get out of the hands.
They did get Robert Carter Jr. back at corner, so that helps a bit. Tommy Stevens in. Short yardage, got it. Gary Peters at the end of the play trying to strip the ball, but Stevens hangs on. And Jake Merrill trot back out here offensively. And for a Riders team that's been able to run the ball so well tonight, yeah, might be silly to go away from it.
No, keep yeah. No, keep running it. Like after the first quarter, remember A.J. Ouellette was on pace for 200. He had 55 yards rushing.
A little early to jump the gun on the 200 pace, but you're right. I mean, that's what he was looking at.
112 and counting.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of big plays here. Back to him again. Tried to spin that one up beyond the 40. Back to the line of scrimmage, really no further here.
Okay, so here's what I mean. Watch Mike Alway here. Mike Alway is moving forward before the ball is snapped. There's their linebackers saying, we're going to stop the run on first down. They're not playing defense, so that opens up in behind. On first down, Jake Mayer going with a little play action in those crossing roads. If the linebackers before the snap of the ball are moving forward to the line of scrimmage, it's opening up space behind them.
Fifth tackle of the game for Alway. 2nd and 11 for Jake Mayer. Lions are going to bring some pressure. Mayer's in trouble. Gets it away. And incomplete. Deontay Williams was right there.
So, again, one more time. Pressure, hit the line. If they run, they're going to try to stop the run there. So what does that open up? A crossing route. Crossing route's open, and it's going to be covered by a man. That was Deontay Williams. But if he catches that and turns the corner, there's nobody else. The linebackers are gone. It's a relatively safe throw if you can get a linebacker in chase that's covering you. Williams did a nice job of tracking it down.
Couch set to kick it away here. He's averaging 42.6 yards per punt this season. That one's going to force Brooks. Wow. Back bounces over his head and all the way into the end zone. And Brooks will take a knee.
Might be no yards.
That flag did come out right when he put his knee down, didn't it? There's an injured Lion in pain. That is, it looks like Coyle, number 6. And the injuries continue to pile up for the BC Lions. Just over 3 minutes remaining here in the third quarter as they take a look at Coyle. We'll step away. CFL on TSN. I don't know if in my zombie world that's how they would look, but it's a pretty cool look.
Yeah. And a good show. I'm in it. I'm right in it.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I watched the first season. I haven't got to the second season yet, but I definitely will. All right, here's Mazzoli. They'll get him out on the run here to the right, down the field, and he's got Eberhard who will turn it ahead before getting crushed by Campbell. I mean, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, hard to get in the mind of Buck Pierce as far as, is it time to go to Chase Bryce and see what he can maybe do to generate some excitement, get this offense rolling. But this is an important series, I would suggest, for Jeremiah Masoli. Don't know that that's what Buck Pierce is thinking, but a nice 25-yard gain outside the pocket, throwing on the run, putting it right where he needed to put it.
And it was Campbell with the hit there, but Campbell is the guy down on the sideline right now. Busy night for the athletic therapists for both teams.
Well, you saw that first half, how physical that hit on James Butler. These are division rivals. Remember, the Riders in their first 3 games played against the East. I mean, you're playing hard either way, but this is a division rival. This is one of those 4-point games, you say, the 2 that you get, the 2 that they don't get if you win it. And Corey Mace wants to get up to that 4-0 start. And like last year when he lost Trevor Harris for a few games, the team kind of, that turned the corner and they started dropping a couple. This year, or this time, they got a good lead on the BC Lions. They want to finish this one without Trevor Harris as a starter. I'm guaranteed, looks like he'll be back for their next one.
BC Lions so far this year have not played close football games. All of their games have been by 13 points or more, win or lose. So we'll see if they can tighten this one up a little bit. Mazzoli wanting to throw again. Pressure, dumps it over the middle. Butler couldn't get there. Drops about a foot in front of him, and that'll bring up 2nd and 10. Pocket closed quickly on Mazzoli that time.
Again, that decision to go to Butler is a little bit delayed here. He's looking to the left side, doesn't like what he said. Give it to him now. He waited a little bit, and then he had to try and a little basketball shot over and through Micah Johnson. That's not easy.
11 carries on 92 yards in the first half for Butler. They haven't given him the ball on the ground yet. They'll get it to him through the air here in the second half. Made a nice move, pushing it ahead. And James Butler, the playmaker, 15 and a first down.
Good decision from James Butler to go inside. If he keeps this and tries to keep bouncing it outside, I think he gets run out of room and run out of bounds before the first down marker, but he takes it up into their danger area.
Mazzoli wide open just inside the 20, and that is Eberhard who leads this team in receiving yards so far tonight.
Okay, so Buck Pierce has got something going in the play calling for Jeremiah Mazzoli. Get him on the run. Get him on the rollout. Get him outside of pressure.
1st and 10 from the Rider 15. Mazzoli again drops it inside the 5, back to Eberhard. He's tied up, and eventually they'll blow it down. And it looks like it'll be BC ball just inside the 4. They'll move quickly here. 1st and goal from the 3. Butler trying to push through, gets it down to the 1-yard line. That's where he stopped. Mazzoli trying to finish this drive. Flags on the play.
Procedure.
And it's blown down.
Procedure. BC number 64.
That just looked so nonchalant as they went to the line of scrimmage.
It did, didn't it? That's a good way to describe it.
You know, just not quite organized, not sure in the early movement. And look at that. From the 1-yard line to the 6.
Mosaic crowd trying to cause issues for Mazzoli here. Butler will stand to his right. 3 receivers out to the left, including McKinnis. Mazzoli looks in that direction. To the corner! No, incomplete! It was McKinnis that he was looking for. And Justin couldn't hang on.
Good battle for the football. On the fade route, DeMarco Fields working with him. He just couldn't hang on. It was the outside shoulder, so good throw by Mazzoli to give his receiver a chance here. Little subtle push-off, both hands on it from Justin McInnes. And he can't reel it in.
We've seen McInnes make catches like that, but he could not haul that one in. I think they thought about this a little bit, but in the end, they'll roll out Sean White. Perfect on the season, make it a 13-point game with still a quarter to play.
2 possessions.
Chip shot for the most accurate kicker in the history of the league. And BC comes away with some points.
Well, technically, it would have stayed 2 possessions if they gambled, but you have to get 2 two-point converts. And there's lots of football. You got a quarter to go. But, if you're a Lions fan, Jeremiah Mazzoli stays in.
Yeah, I mean, but they tried some different things with him on that. Got him on the roll, right? It seemed to work better for him. Mazzoli's 14 of 24, 169, a touchdown interception. Not a day that you'd write home about, but a good drive there that put points on the board. Final play of the third quarter here for Jake Mayer. Wants to throw, he does. Keyshawn Johnson goes and gets it. And that should be a first down for the Riders to end the third quarter. Saskatchewan will be looking to seal away a 4-0 start. They are 3-0 when leading after 3 quarters this season. AJ Ouellette and the Riders get the job done. Fourth quarter action coming up on TSN. Lions have lost 2 in a row. They trail here by 13, but maybe a glimmer of hope from Mazzoli on that last drive.
Well, he put together a nice drive, and Buck Pierce got him outside of the pocket. He got him on the run, rolling out onto his right, his strong side, and made some plays that way. So, yeah, if you're the BC Lions, there's 2 things you got to get going. You got to get your quarterback outside of and get him outside of that pressure. And number 2 on defense, you got to stop AJ Ouellette. I mean, if you don't stop AJ Ouellette in this fourth quarter, it doesn't matter what the offense really does. They won't have time to catch up. But couple of backup defensive linemen for BC. And it's not just the D-line that's responsible for the run.
Matthew Betts out, Hendricks out as we begin the fourth quarter. Saskatchewan leading 23-10. Mayer puts it in the hands of Johnson. It turned around ever so slightly. That's one he'd probably tell you he'll catch most of the time.
And I'm sure there's Rider fans going, we just talked about Ouellette. Why didn't he get the ball? Because the BC linebackers are moving up. I showed you in the last series that they had defensively Mike Holloway right at the line of scrimmage before the snap of the ball. That's the quick slant where the linebackers would usually drop underneath it. So that's why that's the progression for Mark Mueller, the offensive coordinator, to say, hey, the linebackers are hugging the line. Let's throw the quick slants just to drop ball.
Riders 10 for 18 on second down. Mayer looking to his left, locked in, throws it over there. It's over the head of Keyshawn Johnson. So BC will get the ball back here early in the fourth quarter.
Deontay Williams in coverage there. And that third quarter, you had the one penalty that led to a score for the Riders, but Deontay Williams is doing his part to give his team a chance to come back in this.
Could use a big return from Phillip Brooks. Had a game in the preseason where he had 154 yards on 6 returns. Spent some time with the Chiefs in the preseason last year. And out of Kansas State. Dressing here for the Lions today. He waits for this kick. That's a high one. That'll hang up there for a while. It's over his head and into the end zone. And he will take a knee.
Good decision.
Riders defense looked to come up big here. Came into this game allowing 27 points per game. Had been great against the run. which was good enough for second in the league. They do not have a sack today. And actually, both of these teams, as Bertrand Hudon got looked at after the punt return, both of these teams coming into the game had only allowed 2 sacks all season. So both teams have done a pretty good job protecting their quarterbacks. Betts has 2 sacks for the Lions today. And DeBaye got credit for a sack on the Tommy Stevens short yardage push that ended up being a loss. But this ball will sit on the 40. Jeremiah Mazzoli, we'll see if they keep the game plan the same. Get him out on the move to his right. Find some bodies downfield. This time from the pocket. Deep shot. Hatcher trying to come back to it, and it is broken up. Played well there by Lacombo.
Yeah, that's a big play by Nelson Lacombo because of the guy he's going against. That's Keon Hatcher. I mean, you go back to last week's game, and some of the catches that Hatcher has made this season, well, in his career for sure, but he's made some spectacular catches this year, and that's a big play considering who he's playing against.
Here's the little bit of pressure. All right, they're going to challenge for pass interference here. Buck Pierce get a couple more looks at this. Did you see anything initially, Glenn?
Well, I saw some hand fighting. I thought it went both ways. So let's take another look, bottom of your screen. You see how Hatcher's trying to keep Lacombo separate away from him. That's natural, and when that happens by a receiver, you grab that arm and pull him closer to you, which is what Lacombo is doing. Yeah, I don't see an issue with that.
Yeah, like Hatcher had his arm just as much engaged.
That's hand fighting. That's
on the play. I'm a little bit surprised by the challenge, to be honest with you.
Yeah, just 2 possessions in the fourth quarter may have.
After review by the replay center, the ruling on the field stands. BC, by losing its challenge, has lost a timeout. It's second down.
Sort of the old saying, desperate times, desperate measures.
I think there might be something that could be more challengeable, though, for PI later in the game.
I agree.
Long way to go here. Second and 10. Mazzoli dumps it off to Butler. Butler had to turn around just to haul it in. It goes nowhere. To give him a catch. It'll be for a loss, and they'll have to punt it away.
Yeah, that would, when Mazzoli's in the pocket, and that last drive when they moved the ball, he got outside of the pocket on the roll. When he's been in the pocket and he's tried these swing passes, the accuracy on them just has been subtly off. And it doesn't need to be off much to cause that kind of problem for James Butler, where he has to corral the ball and doesn't have time to set up where he's going to run and make people miss. It's not off by much, but it's off.
5th 2 and out of the game for the Lions. 68-yard kick. Carl Myers having a heck of a game punting the ball. Rourke, Mazzoli, and Bryce trying to solve some offensive woes. CFL Canada weekend action. We'll be back tomorrow as the Argos take on the Red Blacks. Coverage gets underway at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN. Big game for both of those teams, too, early in the season. Trying to get some wins on the board. BC's defense gotta hold them tight here. First and 10 from the Rider 23. High snap. Bear grabs it. Gives it to A.J. Ouellette. Takes contact. Doesn't matter. Pushes it ahead to the 37-yard pickup.
physical game. And Thor was the hammer on that play with Mike Alway, whose nickname is Dark Cloud, Mr. Dark Cloud.
See, there's some nicknames I don't get.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for dinner with Dark Cloud. Like, that just doesn't work.
I don't know. They said it. It was a personal thing.
Roulette again, trying to spin away. Got the spin around Alway. Puts him pretty close to a first down. Probably about a yard shy, though.
Well, the spin got them to Tommy Stevens' time. If they are short, and it looks like they are by a yard, because that was a 3-yard loss there. If Alway corrals them there, but that spin and falling forward, as the running back coach did in his career, Andrew Harris. Andrew Harris always seemed to be tackled forward.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah.
So he'd be tackled for a 4-yard gain, fall forward, and get another 2.
Tommy Stevens, who has been stopped once in this game already. That was on a second down, lost 2 yards. Trying to keep his offense on the field here. 3rd and 1. Boy, if the Lions could get a stop here, it would be big. That's closer than I thought it was going to be. We'll see where this spot is.
Official closest to us looks like the foot is past the first down mark. But the one on the other side, yeah, they're saying first down. Look at Alway over the top. And Tommy Stevens driving forward.
Jake Mayer back in. Not having a huge day statistically, but has looked after the football. Trips bunched out to his right. Now they'll move in to protect. High snap. Back to Ouellette. Counters it back up the middle. And gets about 5 yards on that first down carry.
Yeah, great looking play. Great looking play where you have blockers coming this way, and when the blockers come this way, A.J. Ouellette goes the opposite direction. So you see Mike Alway tries to flow to where the blockers are going, and that's a backside run by Mark Mueller, the offensive coordinator. Get all the momentum going one way, the linebacker will react to it, and then go against the grain.
Tehema eventually with the tackle. 2nd and 4. Mayer looks to the left, now over the middle, back to the left. Keyshawn Johnson finds a little bit of space near sideline and eventually forced out of bounds by Will Hughes.
Keyshawn Johnson, little inside bang route, come back outside, react to his quarterback, and that subtle little move back towards his own line of scrimmage, that's what got him the separation for a 20-yard gain.
Second longest passing play of the day for the Riders. Clock ticks under 9 minutes. Throwing again, gets this one away quickly out to the 45. Dante Myers, his 3rd catch of the ball game.
Showed you that time of possession stat at the end of the first quarter. Really favored Saskatchewan. It's likely continued to grow from that point, and that's why the BC defense right now looks tired.
32 minutes of possession already in this game for the Riders. 19 for the Lions. So, yes, they have controlled the football tonight.
45, a big reason for it.
Lions bring a bunch. Mayer down the field. Incomplete. Saw the heat. Decided to go deep over the middle. Didn't work.
efficient. I mean, pressure's coming. You got a post route, deep route. You just have to try and get it there and allow your receiver to try and run underneath it. And they miss, but it's a relatively safe throw. No safety in the middle to help out on that.
Couch will kick it away. Has a couple of guys onside behind him. It does throw a high one in the air. Taken cleanly at the 15. Trying to find a little bit of space here for Brooks, and he's got something cooking to the 40, 45. Tracked down. But there's a flag anyway just inside the 30. And that one will be coming back. 12th penalty of the game against the Lions. Not helping. They're down 14. Welcome back to Mosaic. Great crowd. Just football in the prairies, man. Beautiful day. Great vibe. Obviously, the home crowd's limited. Lions fans in attendance. There's a few. Not so much just yet, but 7 minutes, 40 seconds to work with. It seemed to get Mazzoli out and about. It's when they've looked most effective. That last drive, 2 passes in the pocket, nothing cooking. That's over to the 15. That's Justin McInnes. That's just his second catch of the ball game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I thought that one drive where Mazzoli 3 or 4 plays on second down got outside and looked real comfortable doing it. Just confident.
Well, not even all the way to the outside. Just, a few steps over to the right and then the tackle.
Yeah, off the tackle. It's a half roll.
They got 6. They'll need 4. 3 options out to his wide side right. They'll go to Butler. Butler's been outstanding today, and he's cooking here. Takes it out to the 30, and did the Lions need that? That puts Butler well over 100 yards on the day. He's also tied for the team lead in 4 catches. Hopefully you have him in fantasy.
What a move on Haba Baldonado here. I mean, and in fairness, that's a D lineman, but in space.
Mazzoli over the middle. That's intercepted by Milligan. That might be a dagger. Milligan's got it. Back to the 30. Can he get a block or 2? Near side. Stays on his feet. He'll take it down inside the 15, and the crowd at Mosaic comes alive.
Had one earlier in the game go through his hands on a tip. Didn't let that happen again. Roland Milligan gets number 2 on the season. And Lacombo trips and goes low on the receiver. Jermaine Jackson crossed in the middle on that post.
A.J. Allen with the deflection puts it into the hands of Milligan. Watch 32 in green and white there.
Good drop.
Frustrated Jeremiah Mazzoli. Second interception of the season for Roland Milligan. And he's picked up where he left off last year as Milligan. Mazzoli now touchdown, 2 INTs, and a chance here for the Riders to pretty much seal this one away.
Coming into the season after the great year he had, Roland Milligan, a lot of people were saying there's no way you could duplicate that season. Like, come on, 8 interceptions and all the tackles on specials and all that. He might.
A.J. Olette again. Down inside the 10. Will not be stopped. Keep moving the pile inside the 5.
That's a good old-fashioned rugby scrum. Just go right down the field with your Marcus Harker.
Come out of there, just hitting all his old linemen.
Hardrick leading the way there.
They're on the verge of going to 8-1 with him healthy and in the lineup.
Can you imagine Jamarcus Hardrick in a rugby scrum?
No, I can't. Don't want to.
Yikes.
There's the two bright spots of the offenses tonight. Roulette just a little bit better. Back to him again. Hesitated a little bit, waiting for something to open. It did not. And likely Brett Lawther into the game here.
Yeah, you take the points, make it a three-possession game. Absolutely.
Hesitated briefly to maybe see where their spot was, but...
Well, Tommy Stevens would be tempting.
Averaging just shy of 4 yards per carry.
Yeah, even with, and on the 4-yard line. It'd be tempting, but...
Well, good day for this guy, too. Brett Lawther, he needed it.
He
sets it up here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
3 for 3 already. This one, a chip shot right down the middle.
And a 45-yarder in that mix.
That's his longest kick of the year. He had that earlier. This just 11. Up and through. Riders in full control. Looking for a 4-0 start for a second year in a row. Welcome back to Mosaic. We say it all the time, Toots. 2, 3, 4 big plays, swing a game, and that's what happened today.
Well, just before the half, the Lions were looking to take the lead going in at halftime when they threw the pick 6 to Devon Campbell, and then had a chance to make it a one-possession game in the third quarter and got a procedure on the 1-yard line. That put him back to the 4, had to kick a field goal. 2 game-changing plays.
And on top of those, 10 points off turnovers today as well. And another interception. Mazzoli didn't learn his lesson. That's taken away by Brooks. And he takes it back inside the 30. Unbelievable.
Jeremiah Mazzoli in trouble. We just showed you the game changer before the half. A little late on that and not looking over there to check where the coverage was. Good catch. Antoine Brooks.
First interception of his career. Just his second career game. They're going to rule him down by contact back at the 44.
And he doesn't care. And he doesn't care.
What's he got a basketball for?
I don't know.
Is that a thing on defense?
Well, it must be for them.
Has to be.
Clearly they're... You know how you have the hammer sometimes for the special team guy and the shield, and I guess they got a basketball.
Bringing a ball from a different sport, I'm very intrigued by it. No issue, but curious. So coming into this game, BC's turnover ratio is -4. That was second worst in the league. Today it's -4. So now it's -8 in 4 games. You are not going to win football games if you cannot look after the football.
Yeah, and, in fairness to Buck Pierce there, and, Lions fans are wondering, why didn't he change quarterbacks, maybe even after the pick 6? But there was a couple of drives that Jeremiah Mazzoli put on the board for points that I'm sure, Buck Pierce thought, let's leave him in. He's the veteran guy.
Jake Mayer. Touchdown, give it to him. Duncan Busby, a 42-yard strike to get to the end zone. And he's got a TD for the Riders.
Jake Mayer brings in extra protection. He's got A.J. Ouellette as one. He's always there to protect. But he'll bring in Keyshawn Johnson as well. There's Keyshawn. He's going to help all with protection. A.J. Ouellette to his left, looking for any blitz. Given his quarterback time, he picks up a little inside pressure. And Duncan Busby in behind coverage. showed you earlier.
17 points off turnovers. It's a killer for the Lions. And the road is on at Mosaic. That's the first one for number 18.
If you go out there, run the go route, your longest catch of your career, your first touchdown of your career, here's what happens. Jamarcus Hardwick comes over and gives you a ride back to the bench. Nice job.
Jake Mayer up on the shoulder of his offensive lineman. He's carrying him like a baby.
Quite the throw.
Party is on in Regina on a Saturday night. And questions for the Lions. Can they just simply be answered by the return of Nathan Rourke here in the near future?
I'm sure there's some Lions fans saying this is too little, too late by putting them out here now. But, again, I'm not suggesting a quarterback change even at halftime. Who knows? But Buck Pierce probably saw enough in a couple of third-quarter series to say, no, I'm going to leave the veteran in. It looks like he might. Remember the drive we got on the
one drive at the end of the third quarter. Yeah.
Thought, he's the most experienced guy, so leave him in there. He got some points off that, even though they had the procedure call and had to settle for 3.
After the play, there are 2 misconduct penalties. A 10-yard misconduct penalty against BC, 45. A 15-yard misconduct penalty against 47, Saskatchewan.
But the Lions...
5 yards. First down.
The Lions have Montreal next.
Well, this is the first of a 3-game road trip. So they go to Montreal, then I think they wrap it into Edmonton.
Now, Nathan Rourke was close.
Back to Butler. The lone bright spot offensively today for the Lions.
Chase Bryce, first 3 years at Clemson. Good friends with Trevor Lawrence.
Things are getting nasty here now. There is a flag that came at the end of the play, and then a few more guys decided to pile on, and officials just now trying to get it broken up. They're going to have to take a little while to sort this out, I think. There's Nathan Rourke. Like you said, close-ish.
Closest today, but very likely for next week in Montreal.
In the one game he has started and finished, they were victorious. Here's the end of that scrub.
There'll be some supplemental going on here, I'm sure, where the league looks at all the video after games and decides where the fines will be handed out.
That's Chris Schlugger. 3 years in Montreal. Now in his 3rd year here.
The Riders, on the other hand, they get the bye. And then they stay against divisional opponents when they take on here at Mosaic Calgary, then are at BC, and then have Edmonton. So they're going to go against head-to-head with
a little
the
run
West.
through the West coming up.
Yep.
We are declaring this a Rider victory. I mean, even in the CFL, 24 points at this point is safe. BC goes to 1-3. And Edmonton thinking, hey, there's a team we can catch maybe. So we'll see what happens with BC. Calgary 2-1. VA hasn't even thrown a touchdown yet in Calgary. They've managed to come out with a 2-1 start to the year, and they will be at home, Calgary, next Thursday for the Stampede Bowl.
Oh, hey.
Against the... Are you picking up your own cowboy hat for this?
Well,
what are we doing here? That sums everything up right there.
I think we go to Calgary and we go hat shopping.
Oh, hat shopping in Calgary. Wow.
What do you think?
Think we'll be able to find one during Stampede Week? Might all be sold out.
As long as we don't get the ones with the whistle.
To be honest with you, I got time for that. A big Toy Story guy. Woody, whistle? Do you have a whistle?
Yeah. Well, back to the drawing board for Buck Pierce. He's started out with a nice win, as you mentioned, against Edmonton. Looks like he will get his quarterback back, but we'll still have some issues defensively stopping the run. You mentioned that off the top. That's Mike Benavides' department. When they came into this game, giving up almost 130 yards a game. And A.J. Ouellette went off tonight, 137 for him alone.
Do you think it's a coincidence that teams in the West with new head coaches are 1-6 combined to start the season?
Misconduct penalties by both teams. A 10-yard misconduct penalty against Saskatchewan, number 5. Unnecessary roughness misconduct against Saskatchewan, number 4. Unnecessary Saskatchewan number 42 misconduct, and BC number 57 misconduct 15 yards. The net is 25 yards that way, first down.
He got it.
25 yards that way.
He got through it. Misconduct's for a bunch of people, and it's 25 yards that way.
That way.
Yeah. But what do you think? I know there's a lot of buzz around Buck and Killam in Edmonton.
Yep.
But first time as a head coach, and maybe it does take a little while. Right?
Yeah. Well, second year for Corey Mays, he'll tell you that it's night and day different.
He started 4-0 last year too, though. As a
he did.
Coach.
He did. Good match by Hatcher. But I'm just talking about when he comes in that second year and he has a training camp game plan that is tweaked based on what happened in last year, and they bring in, with Jeremy O'Day here in Saskatchewan, they bring in Jake Mayer as a backup quarterback in case Trevor Harris gets nipped, which he did last week. I mentioned Chase Price and his background a little bit. A few years in Clemson with Trevor Lawrence, played behind him. They're still real good buddies. Apparently he was in his wedding party. And signed as a free agent back in February of 23.
Price behind Trevor Lawrence in school. Rourke spent some time with Lawrence in the NFL. Price almost picked 2. Tried to go back to Hatcher, and that was almost taken away by Sales.
But, Chase Price is an interesting one. 27 years old. Went from Clemson to Duke. That didn't work out real well, and then ended up in Appalachian State for a couple of years where he was the starter. Some big games there. Big boy now, 6'1", 212. Call him Big Country.
That's his nickname, Big Country. I remember the original Big Country. Reeves. Yeah, Brian Reeves was a beauty, man. There's a pass complete to Jackson. Flag back by the quarterback.
Major foul, roughing the passer, Saskatchewan number 11. Full 15 yards at the end of the play, and it's first down.
Malik Carney roughing the passer. Saw him go and give, what do they call it, dapping him up a little bit. Bryce after this hit. Caught him on the side as the ball was thrown. Carney, this is good seeing him out there because he left the game early, right? And then, he's been back, big part of that defensive line.
Very important reps for Chase Price, for him, his journey.
First and goal from the Rider 9 as Rice tries to put them into the end zone here. Far side, and that is caught. Low ball, but Catoy's got it.
Well, that's where the ball had to be placed. I mean, if it's inside at all, it might be going the other way. So accuracy bang on there.
Handed off. Butler looking for the end zone, and he's got it for the Lions. Pushes the total in the game up to 50 with 2:09 remaining in this this one.
Well, there's been the best player for the BC Lions on offense tonight. James Butler, 13 carries, 109 yards.
It's almost like he deserved one, eh, Suits?
Yeah.
You know, like with the way he's played tonight.
He did. It won't. It's not going to make his day any better when he looks at the scoreboard, but. And he took that big hit early in the game, bounced back from it, and.
All right, so they will go for two. Big 2 points for some of you watching it, I think. Back to Butler. He's got the end zone. And it's 34-18 on the scoreboard. And the Riders will get the ball back to put the final touches on this one.
Well, we'll see from the BC Lions, I'm sure, the onside kick formation. So that's always an interesting play. You line up one side of the field, try that sky ball, and you only have to be the last guy to touch it. Cool look down low for James Butler.
45-second drive for the Lions. 6 plays.
Yeah, so here comes the onside kick team. See, Javon Catoy will be on it. Probably Justin McInnes, I would guess.
Get the big boys out there.
And Sky's got to go 10 yards. And after that, you just have to tap it out of bounds. First player to do that. Don't necessarily have to catch it. Just tap it out of bounds. The Riders, on the other hand, will have the onside return team. And that front row's responsibility is to try and distract him. Can't flat out block him right by the ball, but just try and distract him, that front line here. Make them run around you so they don't get a clean run to tap it out of bounds.
Sean White will line it up.
Or there's the kick along the ground. Get the big bounce.
Now let's see what he's got in store for us here. He's going to hang that one out there. That is up. And Keyshawn Johnson climbed a ladder to bring that thing down, didn't he?
Yeah, the Riders put their receivers out there in the second row, and they're the guys responsible for just concentrate on the ball. Looked like Konar had a shot to try and tip that. That's a good catch to bring it down. Tommy Stevens in there on some veer type offense to try and kill this clock along the ground.
A.J. Ouellette, 137 yards, stands in behind him. Stevens on the keeper, trying to break free, could not do it though. Jump on his back and bring him down. 5-yard pickup.
Yeah, this is the full-on run every play offense with Big Tommy Stevens. That was lead blocker A.J. Ouellette leading the play into the hole. Let's take a look at Jake Mayer's day. Good second half, but I think, Dustin, you nailed it when you said he's managed the game well. You know, this is his first start as a Saskatchewan Roughrider. Didn't make the big mistake. Didn't throw the pick at the wrong time, that kind of thing.
The other guy threw 3 interceptions.
Exactly.
You took care of the football. Most of the time, the team that does that is going to win. Here's Stevens again. And Tommy Stevens puts the shoulder down. And he's close to a first down for the Riders. Might be just short. And it will be third down, but
this is the, the RPO is run pass option. This is the RRO, run option. There is no pass option.
Third down. Always got 10 tackles. Nobody else on the team has more than 5. So his big season continues. That's 29 tackles now on the year for Micah Awe.
Yeah,
the active leader in the league.
Yeah, but I think if you talk to him about this game and the way A.J. Ouellette played in their run game, he would say, yeah, I got 10, but I got 10 catching, not attacking, not hit him at the line of scrimmage and stopping him there. He was catching him at about 5 or 6, and And yeah, you still got to make those tackles. But, you know, the time of possession really says it all. And that ground game, the Riders had the big-time edge.
3rd and inches. Stevens took care of it.
But here's another thing about Mike Alway that you love. When Jeremiah Masoli threw the pick 6 just before the half, the first guy to run over there, because he was down. I mean, his head was down and all that. I know it's a veteran, but that happens. He was the first guy over there to say, don't worry about that. Let's go get it back. We're in this ball game. It's important.
Got credit for that last tackle, too, so he's at 11. Here's Tommy Stevens again, and Stevens takes it down inside the 25. You know he's going to break one of these for a touchdown at some point this year.
Big boys love this, too. Big guys up front just love this. Just grind the clock down and watch how quickly they come out and celebrate. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Nice job. Daniel Johnson, another big game for him at left tackle.
They did lose Trevon Tate in this game. It's been Zach Fry in at left guard in the second half. This time, A.J. Olette. Short pickup on first down is less than 50 seconds to go, and a 4-0 start for the Riders. Now, last year, also a 4-0 start, then had a major slump in the middle of the season.
Yeah, that was when Trevor Harris went down. I think the organization recognized that, which is why Jake Mayer was brought over. Looked like Trevor Harris almost passed protocol for this one, but will be back in their next game.
Stevens again.
But I'll tell you what, when you have a bye after a 4-0 start, you can really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a great feeling going into a bye.
Yeah, I mean, you still got to do your work. You look at the film, you get in the gym, you do those things. But it's always great in a bye to get away from it, clear your mind, you know, spend some more time with your family, things like that. And when you're 4-0, it is so much better than 1-3. You're going in a bye at 1-3 or 1-4 and 2 or 3 losses in a row. Ugh. You don't sleep. Staring at the ceiling all night.
25-yard attempt for Lothar. And he's got a 5-for-5 game coming in to this game. He was just 4 of 8. That's on a 5-for-5 evening. And that's certainly something to build on for the veteran kicker.
Smart game by Jake Mayer. You know, as you mentioned, numbers aren't going to jump off the board, but smart game. Good game plan by Mark Mueller to stick with A.J. Olette, top to bottom.
BC Lions going through this stretch, and of course, lost Nathan Rourke in that first game against Winnipeg, but 2 games against Winnipeg. On the road here against an unbeaten Riders team, and then off to Montreal to play an Alouettes team looking to bounce back after suffering their first defeat of the year. So, not that there's any easy schedules in the Canadian Football League, but it's a tough go right now.
No, there really isn't.
Buck and the Lions.
But those are the top teams.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bombers are 5 times in a row, and in the to the Cup and in the East, Montreal has been the best team in the East, although they just lost last night to Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, you're right. It's 4 games in a row against the 3 best teams in the league right now. But you want to find a way to win one. They weren't able to do it here tonight. Kicked away one more time. Taken at the 10. Clock ticks down as pushing ahead on the play. That'll be the last we'll see of Brooks tonight.
Deontay Williams played pretty well in that third quarter into the fourth. Had that one penalty called by the replay center that turned into points. But
do you think this year's 4-0 Riders are better than last year's 4-0 Riders?
that's a good question. I think they're better up front. I think their defense defense has come along.
I think they're running the ball better than they were last year.
Yeah, they were. Well, and A.J. Ouellette, remember, he got hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
They brought in Rock Armstrong.
Armstead, he had that 200-yard game
Rock
there last
Armstead.
year.
And he had one game. But yeah, I would say they're a more rounded team right now.
Best three-game stretch of that man's career. A.J. Ouellette with his third career 100-yard rushing game goes for 139 and a touchdown. Jake Mayer victorious in his first start for the Riders. Did what he needed to do.
Yeah, protected the football, made a couple plays, got a couple of drives going that turned into points. Yeah, he managed the game well.
17 points off turnovers in this game for the Riders as the Lions a little sloppy on their way to a loss. 37-18 the final. Jeremiah Mazzoli, 3 interceptions in this ball game, and Lions fans looking for answers and wondering if the only answer to this recent struggle is Nathan Rourke as his return looms large for the Lions in the near future. Riders perfect to start the year 4-0. That's going to do it from Mosaic. Sports Center is next with Jermaine Franklin and Nicky Reyes.
Welcome to Sports Center. Jermaine and Nikki here with you. Big game for Canada on Sunday. Jermaine in the Gold Cup quarterfinals taking on Guatemala. We'll get you set for that. But let's begin in the CFL with the Roughriders staying perfect on the season in dominating fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the BC Lions wanted to come in here, reach 500, but it was the battle of the backups. Both backup quarterbacks, and Jeremiah Mazzoli and Jake Mayer proved that they were worthy of carrying an offense in the past. One of them proved it tonight. Nathan Rourke and Trevor Harris both being held out with injury. So backups Jeremiah Mazzoli and Jake Mayer starting in their place. 7-6 Lions in the second quarter.
So far in this ballgame, back to Butler. Oh, Marcus Sales with a wake-up call to James Butler.
That was a monster hit from Marcus Sales, but the Leos defense had a response of their own.
Jake Mayer stepping up in the pocket. Down the field. Hurts. Beaulieu came over.
Christophe Beaulieu, a big hit of his own. There was a separate penalty on the play, but nothing for the hit. Beaulieu lets the official know it was completely clean. And he's like, I got you. 30 seconds to go in the half. Lions now down 9-7. Mazzoli airs one out deep down the field for Justin McInnes, and it looks like the Lions have the lead on the touchdown. But hold up. Wait a minute. This gets called back. McInnes clearly offside, so wipe the TD off the board and then just 3 plays later.
Mazzoli with some time, far side. Oh my goodness, on the far side of the field, it's taken away. All the way back down, it's Campbell. He'll take it to the 20. What a swing. To the end zone. Touchdown, Riders. 87-yard pick six. Devon Campbell gets it done.
Wow. What a turn of events on the final play of the half. Mazzoli throws the pick six to Devon Campbell, and the Riders have a 16-7 lead at the break. Ouch. All right, to the second half. A.J. Ouellette takes the handoff, and he finds a hole, then rumbles his way across the goal line. That puts him up over 100 yards already. Riders did fail the 2-point convert, but they lead by 15. Next BC possession, Mazzoli's tough game continues. Watch the ball just slip out of his hand as he tries to throw it. BC down 23-10, heading to the fourth quarter. Now a 14-point game in the fourth. Mazzoli airs one out down the field, and that gets tipped and picked off by Roland Milligan. Last year's most outstanding defensive player had 8 picks last year. Gets his first of the season. Riders kicked a field goal, and then
On top of those, 10 points off turnovers today as well. And another interception. Mazzoli didn't learn his lesson. That's taken away by Brooks. And he takes
they're reading Masoli's mail. The third interception of the day from Masoli. Riders in full control, and on their ensuing possession, Mayer shows Masoli how it should be done. That's 42 yards to Duncan Busby for the touchdown. Mayer, in his first start with the Riders, gets his first touchdown and helps Saskatchewan move to 4-0. All right, so the Riders start 4-0 in consecutive seasons for the first time since 1969-70 under Ron Lancaster. Overall, Saskatchewan has won 8 of their last 9 regular season games under Corey Mace, dating back to last season. And listen to this stat. A.J. Ouellette ended up with 139 yards and a total of 230 yards in his last 2 games. That's the most he's gained in back-to-back games in his entire career. With more, let's go to Cape Burness.
Alongside Enoch Mwamba and Paul LaPolice, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders remain perfect on the season. When we were out there for the opening game, there was a lot of concern around A.J. Ouellette because he was injured right off the bat of this season. And we thought, how would this season look for a guy who's made such a name for himself? He's had some phenomenal games. Well, my goodness, week number 4, he absolutely exploded in this one. And look, this is the A.J. we were all hoping to see.
This is everything that the Saskatchewan Roughriders wanted to have when they brought A.J. Ouellette over there. Last year was great, and he's only getting better. He started off the season hurt, like you mentioned, Kate, but he's gotten better. He had 96 yards, 91, and now he's had over 130 yards tonight. I mean, it's amazing the way that he's running. He's running hard. He has agility. Maybe it has to do with the fact that he's lost a little bit of weight in the offseason, but this offensive line as well did a great job of opening holes for him. Coach, we talked about it all night. They were running counter, 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 but his vision has been amazing to see tonight. And you talk about a game to have a big game. Jake Mayer steps in. He didn't even have to do too much. Hand the ball off to A.J. Ouellette as the game plan, and look at the results.
Yeah, you know what else helped Jake Mayer is the ability of his defense to take the football away. And, you know, Saskatchewan, I was looking at the stats, I was very curious. They're only 5th in the Canadian Football League in takeaways, different than last year. Today helped that dramatically. How many of the takeaways they got, how many they score right before the half. This is the biggest thing that happened. Right before the half, BC Lions, they're going to be in a position where they at least got points. They at least got 3 points. What happens? Pick 6, Devon Campbell takes it to the house. And that puts you in a situation you score right before the end of the half and you keep points off the board for the BC Lions. And then in the right in the third quarter, I thought it was a great drive. Because why? They go down the length of the field, they get a touchdown, a long drive, and then the takeaways basically kept going on later in the course of the game. Devon Campbell, we talked about. Anton Brooks Jr.'s, his interception led to a touchdown. Roland Milligan's led to a field goal. So this is what this defense needed. What they've been doing all last season, taking the football away, that showed up tonight, and an outstanding win for this team.
Is Roland Milligan heading back to another season like he had last year? Well, it looked good tonight.
Yeah, he did absolute dominance by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. On the flip side for the BC Lions, another loss. And look, Jeremiah Masoli, one of the most likable guys in the CFL, but it has been a rough outing. This team needs Nathan Rourke back, especially with them rolling into Montreal for their next game.
New on SC, here's Jake Mayer after making his first start for the Roughriders.
Jake, they were finding ways to muffle your offense, but you found a way to believe in it. What did you think of the way your efforts paid off?
Yeah, I'm proud of the fight for sure. There was a lot of execution that we just didn't go our way, and I think there is well-deserved credit to their defense and what their game plan was, taking away some of the things that we thought were going to be there tonight. But I love the resolve. I love the way we ran the ball tonight, and then the play at the end to Dell. I mean, that's big time to put the game away for us. I think that's his first one, and it was cool to be a part of it.
Well, let's talk about that, because 3 massive interceptions from your defense that led to 17 points scored on turnovers. And from a quarterback perspective, just how great is that to have a defense like that out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite the luxury, that's for sure. So, anytime your defense, your special teams, whatever it may be, is playing well, playing quarterback and playing offense tends to be, a little bit more based off of, hey, what's required to win the game. And I think in the second half we did what was required of us to make sure that we got the win.
I have to ask you about Jamarcus Hardrick, because I saw on your first completion of the game, he came over and gave you a big hug. Then, of course, we saw him pick you up there in the fourth quarter. What do you like about him?
His energy, his leadership, he's consistent. He believes in his teammates. And honestly, I felt like I was in the air for too long. I didn't know what he was going to do. I was more concerned that potentially I'd flip over him. But I'm glad he put me down nice and safely. And yeah, he's one of the best teammates I've ever had.
Your first win as a starter for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 4-0 for this team. How are you feeling?
Amazing. Very, very grateful to be here. I've said it all week. I've said it all ever since I've gotten here that they've welcomed me with open arms. I was glad. I was just proud to play a role tonight for the team.
Thanks so much, Jake.
Thank you.
All right, he had 139 yards on the ground, known to many as Thor. A.J. Ouellette is new on SC.
AJ, 139 yards, a touchdown for you tonight. This is the third week in a row you've had over 90 yards on the ground. How do you explain all this?
O-line's a bunch of dogs, receivers are dogs, blocking their butt off. I left probably an extra 130 yards out there watching film on the sideline, so excited to see some of the mistakes I made so we can correct them. And yeah.
What did you think about the all-around team effort, especially when you find out your team has 17 points they earned on turnovers tonight?
Oh, defense, we can always rely on them. I hate playing them throughout the week at practice. Special teams, like we said, dogs. We got dog of the week and all that stuff. So, yeah, this team's awesome.
Well, 4-0 to start the season. You're heading into the bye week. How do you keep this momentum going?
Go day by day, 1-0, and let me knock Trev out right here.
Thanks, AJ.
Yeah, thanks.
Interesting way to end that. All right, week 4 of the CFL season comes to a conclusion on Sunday when the Red Blacks host the Argonauts. No T. Well, the Argos have had a rough start. They're 0-3. The Argos opened as co-favorites to win the Grey Cup at FanDuel, but are now the 4th choice behind Montreal, Winnipeg, and Saskatchewan. Toronto will be the underdog for Sunday's game in Ottawa.
All right, new on SC, here is Jeremiah Masoli.
Jeremiah, what do you make of that game?
That's a tough one. That one stings. There's really not too much to say besides, I know it's a team game, but I got to play better. The quarterback has to play better. Can't really be turning the ball over at the end of the half like that. And I just got to play better, point blank, period. We had our defense playing lights out, and we were able to move the ball, but kind of like last week, we weren't able to just put it in the end zone. So that's on me, that's on us, and we got to figure it out.
What about their defensive efforts made it so tough out there tonight?
They didn't do anything new. They did what they did on film, and I felt like we had a pretty good game plan. They play hard. They're a physical group, and they play hard, so they got after us too. But, I felt like we matched that physicality. Just got to get better.
Well, in the first half, you really were holding in there, and it wasn't until that pick six that basically ended the second quarter that it felt like things fell off the rails. Is that when you felt like there was the turning point for you guys?
Yeah, it kind of killed the momentum for sure going into the halftime. We're pros. We're going to play right through it. So, we still had opportunities in the second half to make it a game and change the complexion of everything. We just got to finish and do it.
Let's keep it moving. New on SC, here's Buck Pierce.
Coach, just your thoughts, I guess, after those efforts.
Too many penalties, turnovers. You can't win at that level when you play that way. Especially at a good team, against a good team on the road, you can't make those mistakes.
When the pick six happened just to end the first half, what did that do to this team, did you feel like?
Well, I think you look at it, but obviously, it's tough, in that situation. But I told the guys in the locker room, listen, we always look forward, and I did believe, the guys took the field and flushed that stuff, but it's something we got to learn from, and it's too often we're learning from those right now. So we just got to get it fixed.
What did you think of Mazzoli's efforts tonight?
Some good, but also some mistakes that put your team in a tough spot.
So the decision to go with Chase Bryce late in the game, can you just speak to that?
Well, we always had guys you know, it's been a conversation, right? So, you know, he was ready to go and you know, felt it was the right time to put him in.
Going forward, if Rourke's not available, do you have that conversation of maybe going with Chase over Jeremiah?
Well, we're always going to have conversations. You know, that's a week-to-week thing. So, you know, we'll see where Nathan is and move from there.